Hold the presses. A small crisis is brewing in the South China Seas. I want full newspaper coverage. I want magazine stories. I want books. I want films. I want TV. I want radio. I want us on the air 24 hours a day. This is our moment.
It was an unprovoked attack on a ship in international waters. We send in the fleet for recovery and prepare for full retaliation.
There's no news like bad news.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, welcome to the Tomorrow Never Dies watch-along, the second one we are doing, and as usual we're doing the technology test. We're running over Carver's satellite system tonight, so I hope you can all hear us well. Yannick, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well, yes.
Great. Can everybody hear Yannick? Can everybody hear me? Pop us a message in the chat. Throughout the film, Jorrit says, sounds good. Few mentions. Yorick, hello. Hello, you're in the Netherlands. Who else is there? Shane Mackey, hello. Good to see you. I hope many more will join us. We have about 10 people watching now. Audio clear, visual clear, perfect. That means we're good to go. So, like last week's GoldenEye, we have a lot planned for you tonight. Of course, we watch Tomorrow Never Dies on our mark at 8:10 tonight, not 8:15, because last time I felt that was too long. How did you feel? Was that too long? Too much waiting time?
It was okay. No, I felt it was okay.
Okay. Well, given that we have an open discussion after the film, which might be extensive, we don't know. I thought it best to start earlier, so everybody is waiting for the film anyway. I have, as usual, assembled a few behind-the-scenes images. Some of them you might have not seen previously anywhere. They will be put in, so I will trigger them during the film, but I will notify you. So whenever you watch on your tablet or on your phone or on your computer where you see our live stream, that you see these images and don't miss them. It's not blink and miss, but I hope you're all doing well tonight. And we just spoke before the live stream. We will continue the Brosnan watch-alongs next Thursday, I think we said, with The World Is Not Enough, and the week after with Die Another Day. So we're going full Brosnan. That's right down your alley.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how was your week after GoldenEye, after the watch-along? What did you think? You watched it again, didn't you?
Yes, I watched some parts of it because I just wanted to sort of make sure that it was good bits. It was well calibrated. Bits of information and a bit of entertainment and a bit of useful information and so on. And I felt like, not to toot our own horn, but it was even without the movie you could still watch it. It was entertaining and some interesting facts. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a great value to do this together with other Bond fans. I mean,
yes.
Some people don't get the system. Everybody I talked to about this thing, that I'm going live and we're watching a movie together, everybody said, you're doing what? And how does that work? Do you have the film in your live stream? I said, no. Because of copyright, this is not possible, but everybody sits at home and hits the play button on our mark, and then we watch the film together individually across the world.
Yeah.
And they thought, okay, odd.
Why?
It's not odd at all. Yeah, why? Exactly. Because I think it's a great system, especially now in Corona times. I mean, some people are not happy to go to the cinema, although here in Germany, I don't know how it is in Switzerland. Here in Germany, we're fine with going to the cinema. They're open. How is it in Switzerland?
Actually, well, here in Valais we have the most cases of coronavirus, so it's pretty bad at the moment. We're almost in lockdown again, and so also we can't go to the cinema really.
Okay, so watching something like this online with everybody in their comfort of their home, it's the perfect thing to do, I think.
Yeah, right.
And I'm pretty sure we won't stop at the Brosnan films.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because the other day you watched Live and Let Die. You
yes.
wrote to me the German version, which is rather fun.
Yes.
And Yeah, also in Tomorrow Never Dies, there is a bit of German in there. Pierce Brosnan actually spoke German, and
Sort
there
of,
are, yeah, sort of. Well, he tried. It was really,
Yeah.
really good. We see that later, and we speak about it. And in the German version, he says something different in the dubbing. And, we'll go into that when we watch it. A lot of behind the scenes information that you get during this watch along tonight, I have assembled myself. But also yesterday I got this new book from Danny Morgenstern. It's completely in German. I'm totally sorry. It's really, really thick. It's useless Bond knowledge. And there is every film in there, and there's also Tomorrow Never Dies, of course. And I had a look at that today. If there is something that is worth mentioning, most of it I already have in my notes for tonight. So there will be some unusual informations that you might not know. So this is also not just entertaining, it's also, how do you call it? Informative?
Yeah.
Yeah, something. It's like Bond school or something.
So to
Given
speak,
that we're
yes.
all Bond scholars. Yeah?
Well, basically homeschooling, yes.
Yeah, homeschooling, exactly. Yeah. You have an eye on the chat. So everybody, I'm busy trying to look at the technology, that everything's correct here, that our stream is coming through correctly, that I trigger the behind the scenes. I can read the chat, but Yannick will mostly answer
Yes.
because my layout has to stay the same. And I have a lot here on my table that I cannot move. Like drinks. What are you having? Nothing, an empty table.
No. I have a coffee and a bit of, well, you see how much care goes into these live streams. I've removed the branding of it. It's homemade iced tea, but it was, yeah, you could probably tell by the cap, but it's, well, let's leave that.
Fantastic. Well, given that we saw it last week, I'm the drinker of us two. I have white wine because last week after GoldenEye, the Friday was really bad because I had a lot of martinis. I think I had about 9 martinis, real martinis with vodka and everything. So 9 is pretty much, yeah, it was the limit.
Daring.
And it was a really bad day, so I am going back to white wine. But to make it an extra challenge, I threw them away. I have to get them again. I have some chocolate with alcohol inside that you can only get in Germany, I think. It might be fun for everybody to see. And I have to translate the title. It looks like that, and it's called Noble Drops in Nuts. And these are with gin, and you see what that is. Oh, now I have to go over here. That's the Vesper Martini, actually, as a chocolate. Yeah, that's really fun. It tastes horrible, so when you see me making weird faces, that's me having a piece of that chocolate. And I also have the vodka version.
But do they taste like the actual thing, or is it just completely random taste and just, okay?
Random and horrible. Yeah,
Okay.
really horrible. But it's so horrible that you can't stop eating it.
Yeah.
So it's somehow really, really fun. Marcus is there. Is it Marcus? MV Concert must be.
Yes.
We have chocolate with alcohol in Brazil as well. I hope you do. But not that one. Probably not that one. Because I have never seen that translated. It's a German firm, and I don't know where it's produced. Probably in Germany. That's how it looks like. It's lovely, isn't it?
Well, it looks good, yes, but only from a distance.
Yeah, it tastes good only from a distance.
They're probably
Okay.
made in Poland. Okay.
Should we start?
By all
Should we
means,
go
yes.
right into Tomorrow Never Dies? Quick information. I'm having the Blu-ray, which runs 1 hour and 59 minutes. If you have the DVD, you will have 1 hour and 54 minutes. So your film will be a lot faster than the Blu-ray. It happens. I hope everybody still knows where we are. I will mention occasional scenes, and we'll try. We'll manage. Okay? Right. On our mark, would you do the honors again and count us in?
You want to go this time? I did last time.
Okay, I can go this time.
Okay.
Counting down from 5. We start our watch along of Tomorrow Never Dies. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, the logos. Terribly exciting. Oh, it's on really loud. I have to turn it down a bit. Because I looked into it before, and I noticed something interesting. The jets in the opening sequence, they are really loud. Really, really loud. Like when they swish by and everything. And, oh, that's almost terror on the ears. Second Bond film of Pierce Brosnan. I think it cost $100 million to produce. I don't know, and it made 460 million in revenue, total box office. You said last time everybody loved the gun barrel music of GoldenEye,
Yes.
but having a more classic sounding gun barrel here, I heard or I read a couple of times, was the result of people disliking the GoldenEye gun barrel because it was too electronic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, overall, you can say in this movie that David Arnold went full on with the Bond theme. I mean, it's all over the movie.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic score.
Absolutely.
Actually. Yeah, David Arnold, genius in his craft, being a composer. First contact with me was Stargate, I think, 1994. Brilliant music he did on Stargate. And this Arms Bazaar actually was not an idea for Tomorrow Never Dies. I think it was an idea for The Living Daylights.
Okay.
But they scrapped it. It was all too big. And I think they didn't have Morocco as a filming location then. That came later. And we know where this was filmed. There is a controversy always about the airports where this was filmed.
Yes.
For years and years and years, and I have pictures of this. It was Courchevel Airport, one of the most dangerous airports to land in France, a high airport, an altiport. But this is actually Péragude, which is a skiing resort in France. And it's just made up of a couple of hotels, but there is this landing strip, just this very long stretch, and it goes really, really far down. And that's actually what you see on screen. You didn't know that.
But how did this controversy come about anyway? That that Péragude basically was mistaken for Courchevel or vice versa.
They look identical almost.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you look at your stream of us, you see behind the scenes images of how that whole opening sequence was shot. Actually, moving footage, not just photos. This is very rare footage that I found from French television. I think they were on location. They found it really, really, really exciting.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And what I thought about this opening sequence was it was really something that glued you to your seat. Everything being a lot larger on the big screen.
Yeah.
And from the moment when Brosnan appears and knocks down this guard and makes that quip about smoking is dangerous for your health.
Yeah.
Which goes down, last week we said Martin Campbell hated smokers. So this continues the tradition, although the director was not Martin Campbell, but Roger Spottiswoode.
Yes.
But from then on, you were like, oh, what happens next?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And has this happened since? Well, The World Is Not Enough. And
Yes.
Die Another Day, certainly. But then Casino Royale had the effect as well. But then it went down. Then it all went sideways. Never been that excited. And with Tomorrow Never Dies, with the opening sequence, I tested every new speaker system that I had.
Okay.
Because literally everything blows to pieces.
It was interesting to see when you show these behind the scenes pictures. In this very documentary behind the scenes, they talked about how difficult this whole opening scene was to shoot because the snow was melting so quickly, and they had to scrap it all together and put them in certain places for the shots. And you know, if you count in that alone, what a tiresome work that alone is, let alone all the other stuff that happens, it's pretty impressive.
Absolutely, yeah. And they did not have enough snow there at that time. And here's an interesting thing. When Bond knocks out the guard, listen to the music.
Yes, fantastic.
Just this exciting horn
Yeah.
is actually a tribute to From Russia with Love, because the main title theme of From Russia with Love starts in the same way. And here we go. Fantastic destruction of everything they have.
Yeah.
And this, what blows up now, the rocket launcher, is an original one from Soviet Russia.
Really?
Yeah, Roger Spottiswoode insisted that they have an original rocket launcher on a truck, but nobody could get one. So they brought one from Russia that was disused, almost dismantled, and it was left somewhere to rot, and they brought that over to France. So not much is done with computer here.
Yeah, again, it's like the same thing with Goldeneye. Everything feels like you're there, you can touch it. It's yeah.
Yeah. And imagine everything that happened before. I mean, a director insisting on a dismissed, disused rocket launcher that has to be driven
Yeah.
from Moscow to France. It's ingenious. That's where I think you see the money on screen, especially in that sequence. And this is what I mean. Everything happens on the touch of a button.
Yeah.
Shoots rockets there, something blows up over here, and all these extras.
Martin just wrote that those planes were borrowed from the Czech Republic, and the stunts were done with Czech pilots.
Absolutely, yeah. The L-39 Phoenix Albatross
Exactly.
planes, yeah, were also used by Soviet Republic, by the USSR, and by the German Democratic Republic.
Oh yeah.
They used them as well in their arsenal, which actually worked.
Much to everyone's surprise.
Yeah, much, probably more than the German army now. Don't know. Resourceful, the Russians, and well, I mean, they shared much of their military equipment with Czechoslovakia and all the Eastern Bloc states.
Yes.
Fantastic planes. And we will see a behind-the-scenes footage shortly of how that aerial fight, the dogfight, was filmed, because some of it is computer trickery, but you don't recognize it immediately. You see it on the Blu-ray, you see the explosion on the mountainside. That is an insert trick shot. But certainly the planes flying next to each other and one flying under the other plane, that was filmed for real with these planes. And this is fantastic. Oh, that explosion, I love it.
Yeah. Just a wall.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine that heat it generates. Incredible. Well, this was the second Bond film I saw, and the first one I consciously saw. Here is the behind-the-scenes footage of the dogfight. If you look on your tablet or phone, wherever you see our stream.
By the way, this proves how difficult weather is for filming. If you can tell, just in the opening beginning, sometimes it was dark, it was gray. Sometimes it was a little bit of sun. Now it's full on blue sky. It's tricky, this stuff.
Yeah, and often they have to wait for these perfect conditions, and every second costs you money.
Yeah,
thousands of dollars when it rains, and you absolutely don't need rain. Well, you can check the weather. You have to wait. You have to make a decision if you cancel. And yes, that behind-the-scenes footage, which I love so much because it's really rare.
Oh yeah! Wow.
I haven't seen it often, but
I've never seen.
Yeah, I really really love it. You've seen it on the Blu-ray we did for the anniversary of Tomorrow Never Dies. You remember?
Some of it, yes.
For the German Bond Club. Yeah.
Yes.
So it was really cool that they did that for real with real planes. And I mean, when you imagine how much goes into that, flying permits. I mean, this must have been done over the French Alps or somewhere.
Exactly.
From the looks of it. And Bond saves the day once more.
Yeah.
It's and as I said, it was the first film I consciously watched as a Bond film. Like I said last week, the first one being an accident. I stumbled into it and became a fan. And this was something where I knew the start date and everything, and only now all these little trivia facts. It makes it even more interesting.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't called Tomorrow Never Dies at first; it was called Tomorrow Never Lies. And I think it was a fax machine error that the recipient had a crumpled piece of paper and it read like Tomorrow Never Dies, and so they changed the title. And fun stuff.
By the way, this movie, I'm sure most of you heard of this, but this movie was basically, well, you can, for lack of a better word, but you can say winged, because much of the film was written as they went on. We'll talk about our encounter with Götz Otto Stamper later on. But he was, to me at least, one of the first ones who revealed that basically sometimes on the day before they were still writing on or even the same day they were still writing on the script for certain scenes, and then they went in and filmed them. So it was really quite daring.
Exactly. Which was also a point for some casting choices to walk away from the film. Like, for example, Sir Anthony Hopkins was cast to play Elliot Carver. And Elliot Carver had a totally different name before. He was called Harmsworth, and then he was called Harm's Way, which is nice because it's sort of like a pun on the usual Bond girl names.
Yeah.
And then they changed it to Carver, but I don't remember why exactly. I think somebody called in Ian Fleming's circles was called Harmsworth, and they didn't want to use it because they didn't want to have any Fleming connections, whatever. But Sir Anthony Hopkins declined the role of Elliot Carver and said it's just too crazy on the set. The script is not finished, and it's just basically chaos.
Yeah.
It can't work like that.
So not even Bond gives you that assurance, basically.
No, definitely not. And the song by Sheryl Crow, Tomorrow Never Dies, was finished before the soundtrack, the score, was written. So they had the idea to bring John Barry back, and he wanted to. But he said, I don't score a Bond film that already has a title song written, because there's no way for me to incorporate the song that I did not write into the score. So he walked away, and they went to Arnold, which was a brilliant choice.
Yes.
And you like Vic Armstrong a lot, don't you?
Yes.
Did you know he was actually in talks to direct Tomorrow Never Dies?
No, I didn't know that.
Would have been his first directing job.
Okay, but I suppose you don't know why it didn't work out like that.
I don't know. I forgot. I really forgot why he didn't do that. I don't know. HMS Devonshire.
Now, you just talked about David Arnold. Just a quick remark here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion, like that David Arnold should have done GoldenEye and so on and so forth. Like most people know, I'm a big fan of GoldenEye, the score. But then again, Eric Serra to me was perfect for GoldenEye. I could have never imagined him doing Tomorrow Never Dies, and vice versa. I could have never imagined David Arnold doing GoldenEye. So, in many instances, I think they just had a good hand in choosing the right guy for the right job.
Absolutely. Agree. Yeah. Absolutely agree. This is a German influence, Carver Media Group Hamburg. Yeah, David Arnold. True successor to John Barry is written in the chat. Absolutely. I loved his work on all the films he did. Even the electronic Die Another Day, I thought it was fantastic.
Nah,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. These are scores I still listen to on my mobile phone or whatever, because you can listen to them without having the film present.
That's right. To me, the whole Die Another Day thing is I love this movie until the point where they get to Iceland. From then on, I really have a hard time watching, and it's also the part after that where the music for me gets too electronic and too extreme. But we'll save that for the Die Another Day.
Yeah.
Watch along.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ricky J. of course, a magician.
Yes.
Actually, in real life, magician, an actor, and in the deleted scenes of Tomorrow Never Dies, you can see him actually throwing cards, because he's the fastest person on the world to throw playing cards. And he can actually cut through things. He can cut through other playing cards because he throws them so fast. It's incredible. I've seen that trick done outside of the deleted scenes DVD by Ricky Jay.
Yes.
Fantastic guy. He's not in a lot of films, but
Yeah.
at one time he's had his own magic shows. I think one even in Las Vegas. Yorit says the exterior scenes all models, I presume. Which ones? The Devonshire or of the stealth boat? I think. Actually, these scenes where you see the Navy seamen and everything working together and acting and using all this military language, which was simplified in some parts so that every moviegoer would understand it. But the ships used in this film are Type 23 Duke class anti-submarine frigates, and the interior shots here that you see here were all shot at a ship simulator in the UK, the HMS Dryad ship simulator, where they can pretty much train for every occurrence at sea.
Yeah.
So they didn't actually film on a ship. No.
And there's also one scene, I don't know if we've passed it yet or if it's still to come. This is where one scene where you can there's Gerard Butler, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Many actors here, and funny enough, there's not only Gerard Butler, there's Hugh Bonneville as well. Julian Rhind-Tutt is in there, and funny enough, he has a name tag that has E.Tutt on it, so it's actually his real life name. And many of the cast, also Samantha Bond, they were together in Downton Abbey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you meet again. Everybody loves The World Is Not Enough. That's good. That's good for next week.
Yes.
I really love it. I didn't so much like this opening of the Devonshire. I don't know. I didn't like it.
This whole bit now?
Yeah, this whole bit. I thought it was a bit too long.
Yes.
Don't know why I always disliked it. Didn't like the overall hymn-like music here.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but it picks up again. It picks up again. I mean, when you see what they do, and you don't really know what the plan is at this stage. So now one of the Chinese airplanes is shot down. So you really have no idea until Carver arrives.
Yes.
On what the plan could be. And the whole plot of the film, and certainly of Elliot Carver, is a very interesting one. And good that they did it, because the first draft of the script had a totally different story. It was set during the 1997 transfer of Hong Kong from Britain to China. And they dropped this plot because US Secretary of State Henry Kissinger acted as a consultant to Tomorrow Never Dies, to the production, which is great because a highly decorated politician. And he said, what if something really happens at the handover of Hong Kong? Then you look rather stupid with your little film. And so they changed the entire story.
Now, there's a fun story that Götz Otto Stemper told. Surely you remember this. When he actually guns down the seaman in the water, that in one take, or he did different takes on this, and in one take he was actually whistling like a children's tune, I think it was, right? When he gunned them down to make it even more weird and twisted.
Yeah. He told that story to me too. It was Alle meine Entchen.
Exactly.
All my little ducks. No English translation, I think. Götz Otto is very proud of his role in Tomorrow Never Dies, because that was a stepping stone for him to work internationally.
Yes. We'll just wait for a little bit, and we'll tell the story how we actually got in touch, because it's a cute little story how this all came about.
It is, yeah. I love it.
And she goes to
And-
show what a fantastic guy he is.
Yeah, yeah. Yorit asked, did Silva from Skyfall work for M during the Hong Kong to Britain transfer? I think he did, which might have been an unused plot element that they took over to Skyfall.
You know what? I know exactly what is going on. You two have gone together simply to bust my balls with Daniel Craig. Last time
No.
we chatted a couple of days ago, and he said last time you went on with Daniel Craig, and he just joined you in to bust my balls. That's very nice of you two.
Well, I think there will be no more Daniel Craig references during
Yeah,
the
sure.
remainder of this film.
Of course. Hi, Gareth.
Hi, Gareth. Nice to see you. Michael Wilson is in that scene, cameo.
Yes.
One of his longest speaking cameos.
Mm-hmm.
Normally he doesn't have much text, but this is the one that is the longest.
And you know he's also in Twine.
Yeah. Great set, by the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And they really,
I mean,
they really kept on even after the oh goodness. Now I just forgot the name. Set designer.
of the film,
Yes, Bond films. No, not this one. The previous ones. The one you talked to.
Ken Adam.
Yeah, Ken Adam. Yes. So that even after he was not involved with Bond anymore, they kept that tradition really, really up with great sets. We already had that in GoldenEye,
Yeah.
and also here in Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah, definitely. And Carver's HQ with all these screens and all these large elements. This certainly resembles Ken Adam because his rooms were always very high.
Yes. Yes.
And he had these thematic rooms which were like cathedral themed, like in Moonraker with the shapes like a church and everything, the
Yeah.
rocket launch room and everything. But this is, I mean, nobody works there. He's totally alone. So it's like in the volcano in You Only Live Twice, where I always ask where the people park who work there. But
By the way, I'd just like to take this chance to me, Tomorrow Never Dies is the best movie when it comes to costumes, especially Pierce Brosnan's costume. To me, he wears the best suits, the best ties, and the best coats and everything in his movie. I've just prepared something back here. I'm going to take that out just a little bit later when we get to the parts. Because I have the original Turnbull Esser Tomorrow Never Dies tie. And I just recently bought a brown coat that resembles the one when he arrives in Hamburg. And the day I wore it for the first time, all the people at work told me, "Wow, this looks nice," and I will show them where it came from.
I like the way you say Hamburg.
What am I supposed to say? Hamburg?
No, you said Hamburg. It sounded very posh. I just like that. But you're right. You're right. Brioni is a good suit maker. And was perfect for the Brosnan time. I mean, also the other cast members are dressed nicely. Paris
Yes.
Carver, Terry Hatcher, very well dressed. The Danish teacher, not much dress that she has on, but parts of that were cut for television.
Okay.
Yeah, because in one tiny little scene you can see a bit too close between her cheeks.
Okay.
And they trimmed that a bit down by a few seconds.
Yeah. Nowadays you look at performances of Miley Cyrus, and that's
Yeah. You feel ashamed for totally different things. Yeah. Judi Dench, also well dressed.
Yes,
Costume
yes.
design there. Somerset House again, where they filmed GoldenEye.
Exactly.
And it's good that you can do a lot of that in London. A lot of locations in London that serve a good purpose for whatever you want to do, especially if it's MI6 and government departments. And Judi Dench and Geoffrey Palmer here in that scene where they have that exchange about you don't have the balls it takes for the job. They actually work together on a comedy series called As Time Goes By, a fantastic British comedy series.
Okay.
Yeah, ran for many seasons, and these two had a very, very fantastic on-screen chemistry together as the odd couple being married and growing old together. That was really, really fun. And she looks as the female head of MI6, she looks like a really authoritative figure.
Yes, yes.
Definitely.
Martin just wrote another fun fact. Carver's stealth boat is based off a real prototype ship, Lockheed Sea Shadow. The only prototype was sold by U.S. Ministry of Defense in 2012 and scrapped shortly after.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you, Martin. That was in my notes for later. Okay, I was going scene by scene so that I have something to say to every scene. Obviously, that one's gone. But okay, but you're absolutely right. Lockheed, great company, produced that. I think they couldn't really use it. It was somehow useless. But what is, of course, really, really fantastic is the stealth bomber, which has been around since, I think, the first Iraq War. Good tension here. I love the tension.
Yes.
And the shift from going from the situation room to the moving vehicle. It's really fantastic. In which, if you look at the scene closely, when Moneypenny opens the window between her and Bond, it closes twice.
Okay.
So she gives him a stack of papers to sign, and in that time you see a cut to the outside of the car, and the camera follows the car, and you see the screen going up, and when you're back in the car, it's down again. Nice little scene that film too often, I think.
Colin Solomon, just he's just a little part in the Brosnan era movies, but I just love what he does.
Yeah, he's a really good actor. I love his voice.
Yes.
He has a great voice. I say here, the screen is going down. She gives him the travel documents and everything, and something to sign. Then the camera's outside the car. Sometime should be here somewhere. And she's got a motorcade. She's got police protection.
Yes.
And now here it is. Well, screen goes up. Next scene, screen is down again. Well, no, I didn't want to say something about Skyfall, but having a motorcade is certainly well, they know who you are. You're either a politician or you work for somebody really important. I love motorcades, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know why. When the Queen was in Berlin, good dear old Her Majesty the Queen, she had an immense motorcade. That was best to look at. Never mind the Queen. And this is actually interesting. On the newsstand, a lot of official German newspapers gave their permission for this headline to be used.
Okay.
China warns British fleet, and it was translated into German. Newspapers like Die Welt and Hamburg Morning Post. Here you can see it. Hamburg Evening News. Because you can't just use the logo.
Yes,
Just
yes,
like
right. There we go with the coat.
Yeah, fantastic.
I'll just quickly take that out. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, wonderful. Lovely. Yeah. Fantastic. I love
Looks good, yeah.
Yeah. Jorrit says that awesome German. He did very well speaking German. I liked it. I liked when actors make that extra effort.
Yes. But it's funny when you speak German as a native language. He seems so insecure when he says it. It goes like a little puppy almost. He says like, my bureau cold.
Yeah. So I'm trying the Vespa chocolate thing.
Like this is what I said about Brosnan. With the suit. This lovely combination of a white shirt, a black or blue vest, and then you have a brown tie, the brown coat. It's just classic, timeless.
Yeah. Not like the car.
No, definitely not. That aged pretty badly, yes.
Yeah. But, fun fact, as we are the fun fact machine, the BMW 750iL was the first Bond car that has 4 doors.
Okay.
Every other car that Bond drove had only 2 doors.
There we go.
Isn't that amazing? Yes, Danny Morgenstern. Useless James Bond knowledge. No, it's not in there actually, but it should be. When Brosnan drives that remote-controlled BMW, and it stops right in front of Bond and Q, it looks like it stops right in front of them, but it's a camera trick. It's much further away.
Really?
Yeah. It would have been much too dangerous. And this was the first scene where a driver was in the back seat steering the car, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it here, but it has cameras built in the side mirrors. And this camera image of a slightly panned camera at an angle was transmitted to an LCD screen to the driver sitting in the back seat, lying in the back seat, driving the car.
I just love that opening shot of Hamburg. That's a picture that's stuck in my head for many years. It's
Yeah. Do you know where it is?
The actual shot of Hamburg?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Hamburg?
Yeah. It is Hamburg, but there is now a very famous new building that wasn't there before.
Okay.
This is the shot of the Deichtorhallen, with the old harbor, entrance to the old harbors. And this is where now the Philharmonic concert house is.
Ah, yes, right.
Yeah. So that's missing from that shot, obviously. Carver being surrounded by people who like to hear his crazy stories. Does he come across as villain-like enough to you?
It's a very good question. If I think about, when you ask me which is your favorite Bond villain, villains like Carver or even Renard, they don't spring to mind immediately. Funny enough, I don't know if it's just me, but he does a good job, and he certainly has that maniac attitude towards him. But yeah, he doesn't really stick out as a villain. I feel like.
That's true.
What do you think?
I look at that different today, but that's a political thing. We go into that later. Than I did in 1997 when I saw the film. Because I was much too young at that time to understand all the corners and everything about politics. He comes across as sleazy.
Yes.
And Michelle Yeoh, first entrance of Michelle Yeoh in that scene, who in the early script stages was called Lin Pao.
Okay.
But Michelle Yeoh kindly told the producers that Pao as a Chinese word means bun.
Okay.
Backside.
Well,
And
still
then they changed it.
Still beats Chew Me.
Yes, exactly. Good one. Chew Me, yeah. Which in German she had a totally different name.
Which was it in German again?
Oh, if I only remembered. Hash Mish.
Okay.
Yeah, which was...
Okay. It's
Was it
completely
stupid?
silly.
Yeah. Terry Hatcher, fantastic. I love Terry Hatcher.
Really?
Yeah, really do. And they had Monica Bellucci read for the part of Paris Carver, and she didn't get it. And Pierce Brosnan can be quoted, he said, "The fools said no."
Okay.
Of course, she later appeared in Spectre.
Yes.
And Terry Hatcher, yeah, there we go again. Terry Hatcher, at the time of filming, was pregnant.
Oh, right, yes.
You remember that? And one day she arrived late for one of the scenes. It might have been that one. Might have been the one in at Stoke Park in Bond's hotel room. And Brosnan was furious. He said, how unprofessional for an actress of her stature being late. And of course it was because she was sick, because she was pregnant. And when he learned that, he calmed down again and apologized to her and everything. And yeah, but it was great in the media. Brosnan and Hatcher not getting along. And but it wasn't like that. And that's why there is no love scene between the two. And Terry Hatcher is only seen from behind when he pulls down her dress.
Jochen just shared an interesting little story. He said a German Bond fan got a little role in a prize competition and was at Carver's party in the film as an extra.
Okay, that must have been the second time that they did such a competition, because it was the same in GoldenEye. There was also a lady in GoldenEye who won an extra role, which is the name for Statist that you're looking for, Jochen. And she had to wait, because of all the legal trouble, she had to wait 6 years between License to Kill and GoldenEye to finally have that scene. And they actually called her and said, oh, they had her name written down somewhere, and she is in the scene in Monte Carlo Casino, just behind Famke Janssen.
Okay.
But I didn't know that there was somebody at Carver's party, but could be. Because the film was shot in Germany, I'm pretty sure that they had some form of competition, because there was also something at the launch party in the Hotel Atlantic. When Brosnan came back after filming and they launched the film in Hamburg, there were also prize competitions to be at that party, which I would have loved to attend.
Yes. But that's that you want that's in England, right? The whole.
This is England. This is the IBM headquarters, and it was mentioned in the chat as well. Yeah, it's somewhere. I don't find it. The old IBM headquarters. Jorrit said it.
Oh, Jorrit, yeah.
Yeah. Stamper, again. And you don't really see a good close-up of Stamper's face until that scene in Bangkok, in the tower, which is where you see his different eye colors that he has.
Joe Pesci has that also.
Yeah, but Götz Otto does not have that naturally. He's got blue eyes. I mean, you've met him. I met him. It was just for the film.
Gareth Smith just asked the question. He said Terry Hatcher was stunning in this. Do you think she had enough screen time, or was she killed off too soon?
What do you think? Yeah, you don't like her very much, do you?
Not a big fan of her, no.
Okay.
But I think in relation to the importance of her to the film, to the overall plot, I think she had enough screen time for my taste.
Yes, I would say the same. She had exactly the right amount of screen time, because there is nothing where you can go with her story. I mean, you can't drag that through a 2-hour film, and her death certainly seemed logical.
Yes.
In the plot, just Carver taking his revenge on his own wife. By the way, the only Bond villain ever married. This is the only Bond villain who has a spouse in the whole franchise, and that spouse gets killed by him. She herself, Terry Hatcher herself, was not happy with the part. I don't know if that was during casting stage when she read the script, or if that was after, when she saw the final version of the film. But she said she is a forgettable character, Paris Carver, and very bland and very, well, not exciting, basically, and that she does not like to play these kinds of characters. Yet she did. So
I can never understand that, how people can complain. You know, at least she was in a Bond movie and she had like I said, like a fair amount of screen time. It's just,
yeah,
I don't
and
know.
she looked good. She looked good on screen. She was eye candy.
Yeah.
As it was still being done in that time. It changed a bit with The World Is Not Enough, where they tried to go for more serious character development. But in Tomorrow Never Dies, there certainly was eye candy. I mean, you saw it at the party. There were women as guests with dresses that you wouldn't see today, probably.
Most likely, yes.
I think that was the scene when Brosnan is being beat up in this soundproof room, where he got that injury on the lip. I mean, it's often written that a stuntman that had a helmet on in another scene bust open his lip with his helmet, but I think it was actually this scene.
Yes.
Something went wrong there. And in some behind-the-scenes images from Hamburg, you can see it freshly stitched up.
Okay.
And they had to, with makeup, they had to cover it.
All right.
We're not forgetting Michelle Yeoh. We will come to Michelle Yeoh. Great martial arts expert. and Carver being taken off the air. Funny moment because he explodes like Kinski. You're fired. This is Daphne Deckers, yeah. Daphne Deckers. Wasn't Jorrit said Daphne Deckers was the girlfriend of Richard Kay, who won Wimbledon that year. She was also girlfriend of Bryan Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Bit earlier, in the 80s.
Now this is Vulnerable Bond.
Yeah, yeah. Gareth says, I love the marketing for this film with Ericsson merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have the Ericsson phone somewhere behind me in the glass vitrines or somewhere. They had it with exchangeable dial plates or something. You could have a Bond-themed dial plate there, and stuff you don't have today. But the size of that thing. Goodness. I'm getting it just for you to look at. Just a moment. That is actually not the Hotel Atlantic.
Yeah.
And I realized when I was there, I was taken into the actual Atlantic suite where the exterior scenes were filmed. And I thought, oh, that's really small. It looks bigger on film. And they told me, yes, it wasn't filmed here because we're a hotel. We cannot close the biggest suite, then biggest suite. There is a bigger one. So the Atlantic suite is always the number 2 suite in the house. So they went to the golf club that you see in Goldfinger, Stoke Poges, Stoke Park, and they filmed in the ballroom that was used as Bond's hotel room in Tomorrow Never Dies. And when he climbs the roof and the exterior scenes and daylight, that's again the Hotel Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I see if I have the phone somewhere.
Yes,
That
please.
would be fun. You entertain everyone. It should be here somewhere. I know I have it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Here it is. That's the Richard Ericsson phone. And look at how thick phones were. And it even had a belt clip.
Yeah.
It's totally ridiculous. And what I always liked, it had a pull-out antenna. So I thought you can throw it away, use it as a grenade. Totally stupid. Would be fun if it actually worked, still.
Yes.
Ericsson made, Bond approved. Model number GA628.
This was brought up a couple of times now. Maybe we can quickly address this, Ben. The Tomorrow Never Dies PlayStation game, what did you make of it?
Oh, I loved it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved it because we were not used to other graphics. The graphics from today's perspective are, of course, shitty as hell. But it was enjoyable as a kid. Sure. So was 007 Racing. For some odd reason. But no, I liked it.
Okay.
It was somehow difficult to play at some stages. The skiing level, I remember, was difficult to play. But I had fun with it. Yeah, sure. I think I still have it somewhere. Given that I keep everything.
That's again one of those games I'd love to see redone these days. You know, with proper graphics, with probably a little bit of polished gameplay and so on. But yeah, we've talked about this many times when we privately talk. But yeah, these things are probably totally out of reach because first of all, like we've seen the last couple of years, the Bond gaming is pretty much down. Nobody wants to pick up the license, and if they do something weird with it. And there comes the other things, how much we would love to see, like the Brosnan era films being turned or converted into really good modern games. But then you run into trouble with all the likeness issues. Back then, when they acquired a license, they could use all the likenesses of the actors. Of course, they can't do this nowadays. That's also why GoldenEye and We was done with Daniel Craig. And now I'm bringing it up. Thank you very much. But
that was not my fault. Thank you very much.
Both you and Jorrit infected me. That's how far we've gotten.
Maybe I should divert the subject and throw in that Bond is having a relationship with a married woman here.
Yes.
Something that I think he did not have before.
Mm-hmm.
And this scene actually shows him in a more vulnerable light than everything else.
Yes.
because he has to confront his feelings for that woman that are still there. I thought that was an interesting thing. I never, like so many Bond fans, didn't understand why he bites her shoulder. It's somehow... I mean, then and there, he could have done that in bed. I mean... Odd silence.
Yes.
It's something I would do.
Bite
Something I have
shoulders?
done. Yeah,
Okay.
why not? Ricky Jay, as Carver has Stamper, and he has Gupta.
Yes.
So he's two henchmen. One is mostly the techno babble guy, and here he plays over that tape where Paris Carver said he's still sleeping with a gun under your pillow. Which is funny, because the scene was not there before, I think. No, this is where Carver makes the decision to, kill off his wife.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, here's that shot again. That was before the party
Yes.
at Hamburg Harbor. And really the only thing missing is the Elbphilharmonie, the Philharmonic Concert Hall. Huge building. And there was a Bond concert in there with David Arnold.
All right. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. I haven't seen it, but I try to get tickets, but it's incredible. Trying to get tickets for a place like that.
What would the ticket cost for something like that?
I really don't remember. It was moderately priced, but the request rate, I mean, when you were phoning for tickets or everything, the website broke down immediately after the building was relatively new and everybody wanted to see it. So for weeks and weeks and weeks, the website broke down, the server broke down and everything, and the phone hotlines, it was just shit. Good lighting here. Carver sitting alone, thinking, his mind racing, what do I do? Although I think he probably knows what he's gonna do. Is he coming to terms with it? I don't know. He seemed like a villain who thinks a lot more than the others before he executes something.
Or maybe he's just really steaming in his anger.
Yeah, or maybe he's just bored because they turned his telly off.
Tends to happen, yes.
That building, these are actual printing offices. I think of the Daily Star and the Daily Standard in London, I think. The opening is in Hamburg, of course. And the interior printing presses are really in London. Real printing presses. And I like that scene for many reasons, because it's very fast-paced.
Yes.
The music is fantastic in there, and brilliantly started with when he pushes the buttons on the keypad with his Walther.
Yes.
Perfect, fantastic, and it's really tense here. And in that office, when he goes to the safe, Gary Powell here in that scene on the left, standing one of the guards.
Oh, by the way, there we go with the thing. This is now the tie, obviously.
Yeah, that is the tie. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not available anymore. I bought this one, I think, 2 years ago, and it shortly went out of stock after that, and I don't think they picked up production again.
Yeah, but I think if you go to Turnbull and Asser in London, they probably still have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's quite expensive for a tie. I think
it is, yeah.
I think it was 120 euros or something like that.
Yeah. So it's fun when he opens that safe thing. Do you know what magazine is in there?
No.
There's a dirty German magazine in there. Blitzilu. Yeah. You look out for that, people, in that scene. The German what did I call it? Nude magazine? It
Yeah.
wasn't porn. It wasn't porn. It was just dirty pictures.
Yes.
And Martin,
Something.
yeah, here it says sex games. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sex
Yeah.
spielers.
Yeah. I mean, Bond fans collect Playboy editions where there is something about Bond in it from the 60s and the 80s and something when they had Bond specials. But I don't know, where would you start to look for that specific magazine? I think that's quite difficult. And here it starts, of course, the great music talent of David Arnold,
Yeah, and
creating tension, breaking it, and
could
picking it up again.
You could already tell now is the place where he starts to shift into electronica, because up to this point it was a lot of orchestral stuff, and now he really introduces more and more electronic stuff.
Yeah. But I still like it.
Yes.
I still like it because that, with all the gunshots going on and gunshots hitting metal, I think it fits.
Yes.
And there he breaks the music again. Mm-hmm. Then the alarm sound comes in,
yeah.
and the music picks up again.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant.
Brilliant.
Not many films do that.
And perhaps it's just because I'm a composer myself, but I think here it's brilliantly mixed, because you can hear the music, you can hear all the sound effects. It's pretty well balanced, as opposed to White Knight in the beginning. Absolutely. Of course, a lot of big explosions and so on. But if you haven't heard the White Knight track on its own, it really gets swallowed by all the explosions. You can barely hear any of the soundtrack, which is a pity, because it's fantastic.
Yeah. But it's really nice when you listen to it outside of the film,
yes.
and you only have the music track. And it's something that keeps spinning in your head. It always repeats itself, and the melody, the main lead melody of Surrender is in there, which is really fantastic. Mm-hmm. And I think that was when you have David Arnold on John Barry. Mm-hmm. John Barry said, I won't score the film because there is already a title song. And David Arnold said, okay, I'll do it if you give me the end credit song. Mm-hmm. Because then I have something I can take the melody from.
Yes.
Which is what he did.
And that's something, I mean, you've said it many times, and I agree. David Arnold is a genius, but I really admire that skill that you can do a main title track and you can really incorporate that into the whole score. I mean, obviously you have that with Tomorrow Never Dies, which is the da 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 da, and this stuff. And then in Twine you have this thing, I can't whistle anything. I've tried so many times, but I can't do it. But it's still a prominent thing that can be heard in the boat chase at the beginning. And that's really something... You know, if you can create these little things, except or aside from the Bond theme, that's really something I admire.
Absolutely, yeah. And there will be some behind-the-scenes images coming up from the BMW, the filming on location. They are a bit mixed up, so don't worry. They are in chronological order, but there are some random pics inside where the front windscreen is already destroyed. That's because they had in total 17 BMWs on location for shooting in England and in Germany. And this is him escaping from the factory, and the BMW is parked in a very prominent shopping road in Hamburg, which ends on a very large square, and in the background you can see City Hall, Hamburg City Hall. And if you look at the tablet or phone or whatever you are watching us now, here's behind the scenes photos that might be rare. I don't know if you've seen them before. Götz Otto on location, happily signing for fans, and there's a lot of media around, and of course the car being rigged for close-ups and everything.
Yeah.
And actually, when you know the layout of Hamburg, we're driving along now, is part of the Außenalster, the Outer Alster River. And he only goes in a quarter. So he's not really going anywhere. He's just going in circles.
So again, driving doesn't make sense. Yeah, like they started this tradition in Goldfinger where a lot of it takes place here in Switzerland. First of all, it's completely misplaced. I mean, the little radar shows, I think, Lausanne or Geneva, and they're a completely different part of Switzerland. And if you analyze it, I mean, it's half an hour from where I live, this Fokker Pass.
Yeah.
And the driving directions don't make sense at all. They go back and forward, and it's
absolutely
completely messed up.
Yeah.
Gareth Smith asked a question before. I saved that one for now because I just wanted to wait for the scenes. He asked, do you think it was out of character for Bond to raise the BMW off the roof and risk killing people?
I read the question. I had to think about it for a moment. Because I never did. I thought it was just a badass move. Very well calculated. But Gareth actually might have a point there. Because you have the full shot where the car goes over, and you can see that it is a busy street in the inner city, which it is in real life. It is a pedestrian zone. And yes, if that could have gone horribly wrong, it certainly was out of character to make that decision. I don't even know. Did he know what was behind that wall? Because on his little screen, he couldn't see the street downstairs, and that it would land in the window of the Avis car rental. He couldn't know that. So from that point of view, I would say it is out of character.
I couldn't agree, but I see your point, but I couldn't agree. I mean, he's an agent, you know, he's under fire and he's escaping and he's chasing and so on, and I don't think you have much time thinking about where this car could land. I mean, you could scrap all the scenes also in GoldenEye. I mean, he's around St. Petersburg where he could have killed many people with that tank and so on. So
sure, yeah, and I think there are a lot more examples. In the Brosnan films and certainly the other films. I think the general public has been put in danger multiple times, and even on purpose. I would say. Certainly, the way he drives in general traffic, many people are at risk of being hurt.
Sure.
Dr. Kaufmann.
What is his real name again? Italian something?
Schiavelli.
Schiavelli, yes. Exactly.
Richard Schiavelli, I think.
He does such a fantastic job with this.
Yeah. His fake German.
Yeah, it's
very nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think it's still one of the quotes I hear most. It's like, I could still shoot you from Stuttgart and still create the proper effect. Yeah. And just fun, you know, for those who don't speak German, I've never heard a German who just really talks like that, where he goes like after every sentence goes like, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I want to kill you. Yeah. Go there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's this. I don't know. It's not typecasting. It's called I don't know. It's how they generally think German people speak. That's why I like the old war films, the old British war films, because they tried to hire actors that were actually from that country, where the story was set. And German soldiers in some British and American war films actually speaking German was the thing I enjoyed most. Best example is Battle of Britain, directed by Guy Hamilton, I think.
Okay.
It wasn't Guy Hamilton. Who directed Battle of Britain? Help me out there. It wasn't Guy Hamilton. Might have been Peter Hunt. No, not Peter Hunt. I forgot. We trigger the next behind the scenes, which is the Atlantic Hotel. No, actually, there were people like Hermann Goering. So they really spoke German, and you had to read a lot of subtitles. When it was released in England, it was everything full of subtitles.
But you know who did a fantastic job at switching?
Who?
Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
In Inglourious Bastards. He was really...
But he speaks German.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
You can clearly tell, yes.
Yeah. Here are some shots from the filming at the Atlantic Hotel. Also some pictures not many people have seen because they are private pictures of Brosnan working on set, arriving with the car and everything. And there is also a shot of Götz Otto and director Roger Spottiswoode. And when Brosnan climbs the roof, for which they had to attach a ladder to the side of the roof because there is no ladder actually. And many Bond fans have visited the top of the hotel with these two statues, the female statues holding the globe. And now they don't let people up there because of fire risk, fire regulations, which is nothing.
I love that the pictures that you've collected when you were up there for filming Bond for Life. That was
that was fun. I think that was the last time somebody was allowed to go up there. for filming, actually. Yeah. So there's a picture of Gazzato and Roger Spottiswoode together.
That's right.
And funny enough, in the first draft of Tomorrow Never Dies, Stamper was supposed to have a brain injury like Renard in The World Is Not Enough. And they reused it for The World Is Not Enough. But it was really meant for Stamper. So that he registered pleasure as pain and vice versa.
Yeah.
And they scrapped it. They gave him the eyes.
There's a funny little thing. If you pay close attention to those scenes in the car, the BMW, actually you can see the wheel barely moves, and especially the gauges and everything. There are all sorts of hazard lights on, and they don't move. Actually, it's really, you can tell that. And of course, backseat driver. Again, fantastic piece of music. I think Tomorrow Never Dies is probably the score I listen most to when driving around in the car.
Yeah. A few more behind the scenes images here from the BMW and the actual stunt car, fitted with the gadgets and the bullet holes and everything, one of the 17 they used. BMW still has 2 of them, which they can put on exhibition, and it really worked, the gadgets.
All right.
Jorrit already mentioned that this was not filmed in Hamburg. This was done at Brent Cross Shopping Centre in London. Because Jorrit, do you know why it was filmed in England? Then I'm really proud of you.
Someone recently just posted a video on Twitter when he actually where they visited this parking lot. It's just the caption said I think something in the lines of probably the most boring or the most I don't know what the most boring or Bond location ever to visit because it's just a parking lot.
Yeah, it is. And posters were put up at the time of the filming because people were still shopping. It was not that they closed the shopping center for filming that with all the explosions and stuff. No, they just hung up posters and said, "Oh, don't worry if you hear explosions. We're making a Bond film." Like, it's a totally normal thing in the UK. We're making a Bond film. If you hear strange noises, any screaming, or don't worry.
I'd like to point out, I'd like to draw your attention to. I think he's in the German Bond club now as well. Mario Perez, right?
Yeah.
He was in one of those shots you can see right after that when the people are running towards the car rental store.
Actually, I have the behind-the-scenes images right here, and now you have to look closely, especially Jorrit, who just said that the Avis crash is a miniature. It wasn't. Have a look at the behind-the-scenes that I have here. There will be original footage from German television coming up, where you see that stunt being performed. It was actually the BMW. They put it on an air cannon and fired it into the mock-up of the department store, which recently closed in Hamburg, sadly, and they shot it in there. It was very fast, very quick, and what you just said, our member of the German Bond Club, Mario Perez, he was in that scene. Correct. Here's the footage, the original footage from 1997. And I have a slow motion again for you because that is a really, really fast thing. And Pierce Brosnan looking and thanking the fans for coming. He waves, and that's really, really fantastic. Must have been a great day.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see that.
But like you said, or I don't know if you said it yet, but the Avis shot was, of course, a complete mock-up. This wasn't really there.
No, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. The window was basically, it's stone. It's a department store window. So what they did, they extended the window with a box and dressed that completely up. And inside, they had to be really careful that the car actually lands in there, because underneath the department store runs the subway, Hamburg subway. So if a car is fired into that, you can have it going through the roof if you're not careful. So, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I love this shot where No, not now.
Joe Don Baker.
Yeah, Jack Wade is standing there with
Yeah.
his silly shirt, and Bond gives him this look really quickly, like this disparaging
Yeah.
look.
Yeah,
I love that little
fantastic.
bit.
Yeah, although I would have loved it because it's a dinosaur shirt.
Okay. Oh, fair
Yeah,
enough.
I would have. I probably would not wear it for I don't know, any occasion, but fantastic.
But that quick glance he gives him is just so. I love it. I
Yeah.
crack up every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, but I think that was on purpose. They made Jack Wade like that on purpose.
Yes, yes.
So it's a good. Yeah, there is the look. Yeah, and the head shake. That's
Yes.
even better. That's even better. That's close you could go to the dress statement,
I love that.
style statement. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's really fantastic. Gareth said he went to Bond in Motion, the exhibition in London, and all the cars were used on the screen. That's actually right. All the cars were used on screen. Yeah. And we go into the Halo jump, behind the scenes footage here. B.J. Worth, again, did that. He did the aerial scenes of Moonraker as well. And this Halo jump took 80 test jumps
wow.
to just get it right, and in the end they had to do a trick shot as well when he lands in the water and releases the parachute, because that really is so quick, and they did it in a bit of different way, not as it is explained in the scene, but in the final film it looks like it is exactly triggered like in the explanation. But it was filmed from a low angle, so you couldn't see when the parachute was actually released.
Can I just quickly interject? I'm Benjamin. I love doing this so much. This is so much fun, really. This is watch along zone.
Yeah, I'm having immense fun here.
Yeah, me too.
And I love that everybody's interacting. That's really, really great. And
Yeah.
that we can actually offer something that not everybody knows, I think.
Yeah.
I like to share my knowledge
Yeah.
whenever I can. I think that's really great.
Now this is a part, this whole Halo jump thing, and then on the water scenes. This is where for me it starts to drag on a little bit. Generally speaking, like in Bond movies, I always found underwater scenes terribly boring. Like Thunderball was probably the worst for that. Where it just drags on, and there's just underwater. I don't know. It's just I don't know if it's the dynamic or what it is, but I just can't stand those scenes. It's just so. Get on with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Thunderball was too long for me, the underwater sequences. I understand the importance of them and what they did with it, and how difficult it was to film, but it dragged on and on and on.
Yes.
And yeah, maybe that Halo... Yeah. Maybe that Halo jump could have been done a bit faster, but I think it has its moment. I love that shot where he's seen from behind, and that's really, it looks stylish in a way. And when he goes to the clouds and the sea is opening up there, and then you see the trick shot, and he releases the parachute, and the camera switches, and you don't really know when he clipped it.
Yes.
But you're right. The underwater scenes here, they are too long for me. That's true. I understand what they wanted to do with it. This is certainly a model. The sunk HMS Devonshire. Definitely. These were plate shots, I think, put together in a computer. And it is on the DVD on the making of. And yeah, because I don't know, not much is happening there sound-wise. You have the music, but that's it. So it's easy at 1 hour and 8 into the movie to fall asleep. Yeah,
that's right.
If you're a kind of person who likes action and everything blows up, like the opening sequence or the bike chase, then this is the moment to fall asleep. And not even the arm of a dead soldier will help you.
No.
I mean, it's the Beethoven effect to raise the music there. Because he did that thing where he had what is the name of the big things you clung together? You're a musician.
Piatti.
Yeah. And he had them built in at some random point so that people wake up in concert. Fun fact about classical music. And it's certainly very clean water.
Right. Yes.
Very, very, very clean. Yeah. And another appearance by Michelle Yeoh. Who is that? I don't know. There were other actresses for that part, mainly Chinese or Asian in general, but I forgot all of their names
Okay.
because some of them were not very famous. I think it was a good decision to go with Michelle Yeoh. She was very much known at the time, and she was a part of Jackie Chan's stunt team.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it later in the bike shop fight. She did a lot of the stunts herself, but they had to bring in the rest of Jackie Chan's stunt team because none of the Bond stuntmen wanted to work with Michelle Yeoh.
Really? How so?
Because she was a full contact body fighter.
Oh, okay.
They didn't want to get hurt. Yorit says, "Where's the ATEC? Wasn't that thrown off a cliff?" Oh, chocolate's going empty. What is that? Cosmopolitan. Oh, that's rather nice. What are you looking at?
What?
Are you looking at the chat?
Yes, and Jorit just sent me a picture of the obvious. We was referring to the miniature shot, and he just sent me a picture.
Well, if he means the BMW fired through the wall, that was a miniature.
No, actually, you can see the BMW sticking in the office shop, but probably that was just how do you call them, the pre-models, where you sort of set up the scenes.
Yeah. That must have been a pre-model, or it's they have done it after the film for something, I don't know, for display purposes. But there was no need to reshoot that scene with a model.
Yes.
But when the BMW goes through the wall in the Blu-ray, because of the colors, you can see that it is a very tiny computer animated car flying over. It just doesn't fit into the scene. And when it breaks through the wall, that was done in England.
Yeah,
and they had a scale model.
You spoiled that scene for me, because now each time I can clearly tell that it's styrofoam and not actually something that looks remotely like brick.
Sorry.
It's okay. I can manage.
So this is going to Carver's Media Tower, which is Bangkok. They wanted something else. I think they wanted another country to film in. Yorit, I have a picture with that BMW going through the wall, but it's like that big. It's like that big. I wanted to put it in there, but it would have come across as only pixels.
Okay.
So I tried for years and years to find a bigger picture of that, because when there's a small one, there's a big one. But I guess it's in Eon's archive. Yeah. It's the same like this tower. I mean, it is an actual tower in Bangkok, but with computer they added corners and stuff. And when they later jump out before the banner jump, there is also an extended balcony corner which is not there originally. And for the banner jump, which was tricky to do, very, very tricky, because it could have actually gone wrong. They built a scale model with only the size of the banner so that it was easier for the actors to have their close-ups taken. And the stuntman did it in a bigger scale. Interesting here in that scene when Carver is laying out his plan, basically. When he says, "Words are the new weapons, satellites the new artillery," this was the only line that the writer Bruce Fierstein pitched to the producers. So, to give away his whole plot. Words are the new weapons, satellites the new artillery.
Okay.
And of course, I'm pretty sure they didn't know what it actually was about. But, yeah.
Gareth asks, would you like to see BMW return for the next 007 actor?
No. No. Is there a specific model you would like to see, Gareth? Because I don't know any model that would fit Bond. I think he should stick to British cars. British brands in general.
BMW.
Don't get, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know why they picked Heineken
Yeah.
as a in the later Bond films as a marketing partner, but okay, why not?
It just, yeah, that's, but you bring up a good point. I just feel Bond is something, otherworldly almost. And to have such a, pardon the expression, ordinary brand like Heineken connected to it, it was always about, Bollinger and Aston Martin, things like us normal people don't even look at or couldn't even afford to look at. And then you
Yeah.
come up with things like BMW and Heineken stuff that's just everyday stuff. It just takes away a little bit of the magic, I feel.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah. The Empire Strikes Back.
I love that, yeah.
Great headline here, and actually taken from a real news headline during the Falklands War, which has always been the UK against Argentina, about the Falkland Islands, which the Argentinians call the Malvinas, because they both claim sovereignty over that little island. And the UK attacked Argentinian forces in 1982 in the Falklands. And that headline, "The Empire Strikes Back," was used with a picture of the HMS Hermes, I think, and at that time. And that was really on newspapers. Quite bold.
Yeah, yeah. If you have such a serious note attached to it, and if it's such a serious background,
Yeah.
it's quite risky. Yeah.
Yeah. So here we have behind the scenes images of the banner jump. A stunt executed by two stuntmen whose names always escape me. I should have looked them up. It's not the one who drives the Mark Southworth and Wendy Leach. But there was another stand-in for Wendy Leach, because Wendy Leach was on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And she didn't do the banner jump on that day. But here are actual behind-the-scenes pictures of the banner jump being filmed.
Oh, Yorid says they pulled behind them upwards with the actors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
They did many shots. They pulled it and they had them slide down for a couple of meters. I don't know which is the actual. I think the actual shot is when they pulled the banner behind the actors. Yeah.
Yeah. The glass breaks really quickly here.
Yeah, definitely. No modern safety glass.
No.
Yeah. Next time I'll take the elevator. Yeah. Brilliant take of humor. Yeah. Yeah, nicely done. I don't know if we should test that one day if that's really possible.
The glass?
Yeah. And now when they get on the motorcycle, there's that little fight.
Yeah.
Who goes in the front and who goes in the back?
Yes.
And that's actually real.
Okay.
That was not in the script, because Roger Spottiswoode took both of them aside, without the one knowing from the other. He spoke to Pierce and said, "When you go on the motorcycle with Michelle, you want to sit in the front." And then he went to Michelle and said, "When you go on the motorcycle with Pierce, you want to sit in the front." And the fight they had is real, and the struggle during the beginning is really, really fun. Roger Spottiswoode is a fun guy. Really, really.
I love those Range Rover, that particular model. That's one of the cars I always wanted to get, but I never wanted to get a British car after all, because they're notoriously bad with electronics, and it was documented with the Lotus Esprit and everything also, and I think Range Rovers as well, they suffer the same fate.
Yeah.
That's why I steer clear of them, but I love how they look, and they have, like the GoldenEye train, they have a menacing look in those scenes somehow.
That's true, yeah.
Huh?
That's really true, yeah. And in that scene, it's actually when they jump over the helicopter, swerving in midair. It's actually interesting because Bond was hidden; he was out of sight. There was no need to continue the chase. I mean, like in a game, when you are hunted by the police or something, you try to evade them and then hide somewhere until the heat is off you. Bond had that situation. They lost track of him, and he decided to jump over the helicopter only for the bad guys to see him again.
Yes.
I think that was a bit okay. It's not a continuity error. It's just a sort of a little plot hole.
By the way, that's another thing I admire about David Arnold. I mean, this scene probably goes on for 5 to 6 minutes, and from the very beginning, he brings in the Bond theme, which is simple, but it gets repetitive. But he just keeps the motion going, keeps adding and adding and adding, and it never gets old hearing. You know, it never gets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The bike chase as a track outside of the film is a brilliant listen, because it has so many layers.
Yes.
That work well together and intertwine. A fantastic piece of music.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yorid wrote, "Please tell the story with the hovering helicopter." You know what he means?
Since there's a smiley behind it, I don't really know. I think. I don't know. I don't know.
And Willem wrote, "At some point you see the back of the Saigon set." Okay.
Yeah, but you have to look really close.
Okay.
Yeah, they had whole streets built in the studio in the UK because much you couldn't film on location. It is certainly a very vibrant scene.
Oh yeah.
And the camera work is fantastic. Love the camera work.
Yes. Hovering.
Hovering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's really an obvious one, yeah.
Yeah, and of course when it goes down now, see, this is the scene. They are hidden from view.
Yes.
The helicopter lost track, and they decide to jump it.
Yes.
When the helicopter goes down and the rotor blades cut up the market and people are running, of course there were no rotor blades. They were added digitally in the computer. Nice stunt.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of cartons on the other side where they could land. Also, not without danger, because when you do that with a heavy motorcycle like that, also a BMW, I think a 1200 Scrambler, if that lands on you.
You know, the thing is, ever since, I mean, half a year ago, I started to ride a motorcycle myself, and it's a pretty heavy one as well. And when I see this stuff, just the most basic things like going over these roofs and so on and so forth, it's completely baffling to me, because actually being on a motorcycle, if you don't drive one yourself, you can't imagine it. But it's difficult just to ride it properly and do all these things. Just it's insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you said, when that drops on you, or when you sort of fall over and it lands on one of your legs, it could easily break one of your legs. So this stuff really is.
Yeah. But the driver, a Frenchman, Jean-Pierre Goy, I think, fantastic motorcycle driver who can do wheelies and stuff you would never imagine even trying.
Yes.
Did a really fantastic job here together with Wendy Leach, wife of Wick Armstrong. Also a very lovely woman.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, great stunt woman.
Can you? Sorry, my DVD just dropped out. Can you tell me where you are right now?
Now they've stopped with the bike, and the helicopter is coming down onto the empty square.
Okay.
And she says trapped. And it's hovering at an impossible angle.
Oh.
And then you have the model shot. When the helicopter explodes, you have a model shot, and you can actually see the puppets inside the helicopter when it crashes into the building. Hovering at that angle, the helicopter would have crashed.
Yes, absolutely.
Instantly.
Yeah.
But okay, it's a Bond film. You just take these things for granted.
Yeah, right.
And here you could see the puppets in there. Dummies. The Blu-ray makes a lot of things clearer.
Oh, right, yes.
A lot of things seem odd, yeah.
It's the same thing that was mentioned as shortly last time with GoldenEye. Shortly before the tiger blows up, you can see the little action figure sitting in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Martin says it's just standing there, hovering menacingly.
Mm-hmm.
That was me on the school grounds when I was a kid, hovering menacingly. I think that sounds really nice.
Zachary,
What are you doing?
you at the party scene, or are you completely off now?
No. Oh yeah, party scene. Yeah.
Yeah, we're at the shower scene now, right?
Wait until you see it in 4K, Yorit. What do you think I'm running? I'm actually having the 4K Blu-ray.
Oh, is this the shower now?
This is a shower, yeah.
Okay, good.
This is the shower scene, which I thought was odd because, well, she ties him to that ridiculously. I mean, you could see it's loose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Oh, Yannick, there's a comment by Gareth that you should read.
Ah, yeah, right. Screw you.
Me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. But I still hope the bike chase scene in No Time to Die will be good.
Yeah.
The latest I read is they used tons of thousands of Coca-Cola to make it stick to the floor in the ancient city of Matera. Thank you very much.
I think Giuseppe lives right there, right?
Oh yeah, Giuseppe lives right. Sometimes he lives in that street. Sometimes he lives in that street. Yeah, yeah. We have somebody we know who says, yeah, oh Matera, I know somebody. Giuseppe lives there. He probably doesn't. Just to give you the back info on the joke. Here's the bike shop fight.
Yeah.
And you can see they're all Asians. Not, I mean, could have been some Europeans or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But these are all fighters of Jackie Chan's stunt team.
Okay.
Who have worked with Michelle Yeoh before and who know her fight style, which is really a heavy extended form of close quarter combat that she does, martial arts technique. And it's so fast. I mean, I as a normal stuntman, being used to normal stunt work, fighting, I would get scared.
Yeah. And this is basically also where you can tell by the sound design that they've moved into a very cinema-like realm. Because in GoldenEye, still everything sounded quite organic, and here they really have those overly produced. I love them, but they have these overproduced sounds and those, this really.
Yeah, works well. It works well.
Yes.
Also, the switch between Brosnan on the street and her in the shop being attacked, and he's trying to get to her in a way that he's not discovered. That's really good. Zachary asks if we're going to commentate on Twine as well. The World's Not Enough. Sure, next week, next Thursday. 8 o'clock German time. It will be The World Is Not Enough. I'm looking forward to that, really.
Oh, yes.
Love that film.
And again, here's a funny little part. Always makes me smile is when he looks at the keyboard and it's just
yeah.
That's new type.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, would you learn Chinese?
No.
Just for fun?
No, you?
No, not really. Because I always, when I learn a language, I want to write a bit of the language. I want to be able to write a bit of the language. And Chinese, I just don't see it. Same with Russian.
Russian I find interesting, but Chinese is just with those weird signs is just too way off for me.
Yeah.
But Cyrillic is not easy either. But it's
No. Wacho paket. Paket. Oh, horrible. Oh. And this is the scene where he picks up the Walther P99. First time he uses that new gun, and it was a clever move by the Walther Weapons Factory, because of course the Bond franchise, through the use of the Walther PPK, has been an active, long-time endorser of the franchise.
And you have an interesting connection to Walther, if you want to give a little bit of info on that.
Yeah, my grandfather designed the Walther logo, which is on every gun. He was a graphics designer in wartime. He was a cartographer in wartime, because then you didn't do your ordinary job. You did a job that was necessary for the war effort. So he was a cartographer, and from what my grandmother told me, he also worked at the Wolf's Lair in Poland, working on maps for Hitler. And I still have some here from archive of my grandfather. And after that time, he designed the new this kind of swing logo
Yes.
for the Walther weapons factory, and also for Mauser.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, contract work.
Yeah.
He never thought anything of it. Oh, the dragon.
Zachary asks you, it's pointed directly at you, Bond Bulletin. Who's your favorite Bond
Cinematographer. Yeah, you should drink more. You should drink more. Yes.
Cinematographer.
Yeah, Kinematograph. Maybe that's easier, the German one.
All right.
That's difficult. I can tell you if Yannick will close his ears.
Okay.
I thought Skyfall was really well made. Skyfall, Roger Deakins. And Roger Deakins generally being a great cinematographer. Good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it, Yannick.
Okay.
That's good. Good. I just said Roger Deakins' work on Skyfall was fantastic. I hope you agree. I get you every time.
Taking the slow boat to China.
On a slow boat to China. Is Götz Otto famous in Germany? I haven't seen him anything besides this film. Zachary, Götz Otto is one of Germany's most famous actors, actually. Yep. We have a lot of them, but he is famous through a lot of crime dramas that we have. And after Tomorrow Never Dies, he started to work internationally. So he did a lot of international films, English-speaking films. But in Germany, I would say he is very, very well known. And he's still working. He's practically on television every other month.
I wouldn't even dare to say that he's quite famous in all the German-speaking European parts, also in Switzerland, for instance.
Definitely. Austria, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And Jorrit correctly says he did Iron Sky. Great, fantastic, over-the-top comedy thing. Semi-horror, whatever. Really great.
Now, these pictures, they always remind me of The Man with the Golden Gun, but it's not at the same place, is it?
It is. It is.
Is it?
Yeah, and you can actually, in one shot, you can see James Bond Island in the background. I think it's that one. But you don't see that mushroom-shaped mountain.
Yes.
Only if you look closely. I've never took apart these scenes. It's been a long time since I've seen Tomorrow Never Dies. But it is the same area where The Man with the Golden Gun is filmed, yeah.
Okay.
It was filmed. It's not being filmed anymore. English teacher should know.
And the boat looks almost the same, like Scaramangas. So many throwbacks that are hidden in those movies. Also, like the story you told before with the Goldfinger golf club whole. Yeah.
Exactly. Things are reused a lot.
Yes.
Because it's convenient. I mean, there's a lot around Pinewood Studios that you can use. Like I said with GoldenEye for Octopussy, they just used a forest that was next to Pinewood. For the scenes when Mishka and Grishka chase Bond. Yeah. Zachary, I was in Hamburg in 2016 visiting a pen pal. The thing I miss most about Germany are the trains. We don't have them in the Midwestern US. Yeah. But you often have trains that run on time. Ours don't. Yeah, we have a good public transport system, especially with trains. I mean, I can be with Yannick in Switzerland in 7 hours. That's a really good thing. I could fly, but that's not good for the environment, obviously.
Oh, fuck that. But I mean, it's just a lot of trouble.
Language. Thank you very much.
You said shit before. Pardon me.
Okay. Yeah. Trains. Oh, the new Berlin airport is finished.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's supposed to open on the 31st of October, which is Halloween.
Yeah, right.
Funny enough. So here's the stealth ship, and a lot of that was model work.
Yeah.
And especially the underwater scenes when Bond and Michelle end up underwater, that was filmed in Mexico, in Baja Studios, where they had just finished filming Titanic, and which of course had that immensely huge water tank, which they could use for a model stealth ship, which was considerably large. I trigger the behind the scenes for you here, where you can see some images of the model, and the model being worked in the water. It had a considerable size. It was about the same size as the model of the Atlantis in The Spy Who Loved Me. That was just a bit. The height was different.
Yeah,
but also the warships and everything were all models.
Yeah, you could see some of the set people standing actually on the model of the, was it the Leopardos? Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Fantastic model work.
Mm-hmm.
Always in the Bond films.
Yes.
Now we're in the last quarter of the film now. The finale, the climax, however you want to call it. I thought it was rather violent compared to GoldenEye, for example.
That's true.
All the World Is Not Enough. So you have a lot of openly displayed violence there. Bond with the knife, but of course he is a killer. Let's not forget that. Yeah. Stamper being very, very brutal.
Yeah.
Zachary says, all I know is I want to see Bond in Norway and have a boat chase on a fjord. Would be a good idea. I have a lot of locations where Bond has not been, where you could do stuff. Norway certainly has been underused. They should do more there. Mission Impossible did. Well, now we will have Norway scenes in a new film.
And again,
here's one of your favorite scenes in there. In that, you know what I mean? That's when Carver does his. Yeah, you do a fantastic impression of Elliot Carver there. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. He's such a great, talented actor.
Did you see his latest movie, the Two Pope thing?
Yeah, I did.
Was it good?
I did. It was really good. It was really, really good. And intentionally funny in some scenes.
Okay.
Like, because he plays Pope Franciscus and the other guy, it's Anthony Hopkins. He plays the German Cardinal Ratzinger. And they end up in the bathroom together, and Jonathan Pryce's Pope is whistling Mamma Mia by ABBA, and the German absolutely, how would I call it? Conservative Pope is like, well, what's that? Oh, it's I think it was either Mamma Mia or Dancing Queen. And he says it's Dancing Queen by ABBA. Okay. So he acknowledges that, but it was really very well made. Netflix does good films.
Yes, that's right. Especially, I love the documentaries. They're very, very good.
Absolutely.
By the way, my favorite move of Carl when he imitates her is just as, when he's from the back, you can see how he goes like.
Yeah. It looks funnier from the back than it does from the front. Yeah. And also, notably here, as the Admiral is Gabriel Byrne, an actor I really like. He was in Indiana Jones. And he had that wonderful role next to Harrison Ford and Sean Connery, where he says, "Welcome to Germany," or "This is how we say goodbye in Germany," and something like that. Oh, fantastic! Zachary asked if I can imagine what it would have been like to have Anthony Hopkins playing Carver. I don't know. Anthony Hopkins is certainly a fantastic actor, but I don't like all of his work. I don't like his entire body of work. I don't like Jonathan Pryce's entire body of work, but I've registered Jonathan Pryce more in films than Anthony Hopkins, I think. although I've seen a lot, back to when Anthony Hopkins did Hitler in the Bunker, in a film called The Bunker, which was exactly the same story as Downfall. Well, because it happened, but it was from scene to scene in the film. It was the same like the film Downfall, which was made in 2004, and The Bunker was 1975 or something. It was incredible. I don't know that much copying was possible, but I think Anthony Hopkins' Carver would have been a lot different, a lot more down to earth, not so much comic, like in that scene. I like Jonathan Pryce in that.
And you were talking about the scale of sets before, and again, here's one of those things that really have that massive scale, like a big hole or anything like that.
Yeah.
Same thing with the inside of the stealth boat. It's very reminiscing of the Spy Who Loved Me.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of room in that stealth boat. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a nice standoff.
And it's funny afterwards. Again, we had that with Goldeneye in one scene, and here you can tell it again. Now he has the Walther, which has a silence on it, and later in one of those scenes you can see him shooting, and it's just an unsilenced sound again. It's the sound of it having had a good sleep then.
It's like Famke Janssen in Goldeneye.
Yeah.
Zachary says, I know they wanted the guy who played Hitler in Downfall to play Green in Quantum of Solace. Yeah, but probably too old. Good old, what's it? Bruno Ganz. Probably too old for... I mean, Bruno I don't know how old... He's dead now. But I don't know how old Jonathan Pryce was at the time Tomorrow Never Dies was filmed. It looks like mid-60s. But it depends. You have to have... Dominic Green was a totally different character. It wouldn't have worked as an older character. Just if you ask me. Same as the character of Elliot Carver could not have been played by a 30-year-old. It just wouldn't work.
I think it's this scene here.
Yeah. That's when he starts to run. Yeah. There's something sexy about a silenced P99. Don't know what it is.
I just think here's a switch where, again, from a sound designer point of view, where just the machine guns, they sound so thin. When you compare it to GoldenEye, where they had the really full bassy sounds, here they sound like little, I don't know what.
Yeah, that's true. Although the sound on the Blu-ray is a lot better. Some of the sounds, like I said earlier, the jets in the opening sequence, they screech in your ears. It's really painful. The gunshots now, they were quite nice, actually. And on the battleship, a lot of talent, a lot of actors who appear frequently in TV shows. Many of them are in Netflix's The Crown, for example. Pip Torrens. So the Bond films have always used the best in British talent, even for small roles. I mean, and back then they were probably at the start of their careers, and then they started to evolve in the British media world. I like that she has a throwing thing in her shoe.
The stars, yeah.
I like that. Yeah. How are they called? They have a name.
Wait, just look it up real quick.
Gareth asks, do you like the death scene for Carver? Do you like the death scene for Carver when he gets mauled by that thing?
Sorry, Shuriken, it's called.
Shuriken, yeah, of course. Yeah, I should have remembered that.
Sorry, what was the question? I just missed it.
Do you like the death scene for Carver?
Yes, I don't think it's very convincing because he could have easily jumped away from that thing, but it still looks good. Yeah, what do you think?
I think it's very, very brutal. It's License to Kill like. When you remember License to Kill, where he set Robert Darby's character on fire, Fran Sanchez. Quite brutal, too brutal for his time. As a, what must I have been, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, as I saw that, I thought it was very brutal, unnecessarily brutal. But what other means of disposal would you have in that kind of situation?
Yeah. I agree with Zachary. I mean, for the way how he's killed. Of course, we're talking about Bond movies who are very restrictive about gore and blood and stuff like that when it comes to that, just simply because of the what's it called, Indizierung.
Yeah, index.
Yeah, the index.
Yeah.
It's very ungory, so to speak, for the way he's disposed of.
That's true, but generally here, it's they shied away from showing a lot of blood and gore and everything, which is good. I mean, they need it for the PG rating, obviously, but it is interesting when you look at that the main villain is killed by the same machine he used to start his plot.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
And that happens a lot. I mean, the Spy Who Loved Me with the rockets that were flying over, and
GoldenEye.
yeah, often the villains are killed by their own inventions.
Yes.
Yeah. Full-blown Bond theme. I love when he reaches around the rocket launcher, shoots the hydraulic lock, and just fires these rockets and unleashes complete mayhem.
Yeah.
Love it.
And great use of sort of ethnic percussion by David Arnold. Just keep everything rolling. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Kurt Sutherland dropping his gun. It's like, oh, he's got a rocket launcher. Shit. But he's still alive and well. Follow me into certain death. Thank you very much. It's sort of like, I mean, at that point, you know with every Bond film that Bond is going to win. But like Michelle Yeoh's character here running out of bullets, you think, oh, okay, maybe she's gonna die. He's not gonna die, but maybe her. But they would not have done it.
Yeah.
Not in the 90s. No. But fantastic. Here's that scene. He has a silencer on, and the sounds are not according to that. Yeah. Zachary says, something I never realized is how the production of this film was apparently a complete shambles. True. From start to finish, actually. I mean, no film is without production troubles. But Tomorrow Never Dies certainly was an exception. I mean, when you have cast members that are cast, like Anthony Hopkins, and 3 days into shooting, these people walk away because they say it's too much chaos. I can't handle it. Sorry. Don't want to for the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, and at the very beginning you were talking about like when they have to postpone or reschedule shoots and it costs thousands of dollars every minute or every hour that you can't shoot.
Exactly.
I still can't fathom the pressure that has to weigh on a director, you know, taking all these things into consideration, and you have to keep on schedule, and like you said, and then you have a major, like the enemy, the main villain, you know, abandoning the project 3 days before and stuff like that. It must be insane amount of pressure.
Yeah. And I mean, I could never imagine making a film for which pages of the script are added daily while you are shooting.
Yeah.
I think that there is an inner monk in me that says, oh, no, that's not going to fly.
Yeah.
Because that destroys my whole planning. And I'm a person who plans a lot, but I try to restrict myself to not do it, because if you plan your entire life, your entire week, your entire month, I think you miss a lot. Yeah. Of the fun of the whole life. So much of what I do is unplanned.
Yes.
If I go out and want to film something, I never know what happens. If everybody will play along if I film somewhere, I never know with what I come back home with. But a production of that scale with so many $1 million and so many people involved, so many great, talented people in the stunt crews and the art departments and costume departments and whatever, you don't want to upset any one of them by delaying. And I don't know how it is with the new film, but certainly if I worked on that, at some point you want to see it. I know Brigitte Miller, who worked on the new Bond film, she just got an email from Barbara Broccoli saying, sorry, we have to delay it again. Or she got that email, and I mean, you just want to see yourself on screen. I would.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, but no film has been without trouble. I mean, look at
Yeah.
Cleopatra or whatever. I mean, back in the day, in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it must not have been easy to produce a film.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, that's right. But I can understand, you know, when one-time Bond directors so on, he doesn't look back at this experience with fondness because, like I say, just the amount of pressure now, you know, keeps coming up, you know, when you think about it. That and of course you don't see the movie the way we see it, like this perfect thing. You see everything. You're reminded of everything that went wrong and how. And probably you don't like many things because it had to be done because of budget or time restraints. It had to be done in a certain way, not the
Yeah.
way you wanted it to be. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
So there's Carver's death.
Hmm.
One henchman left to deal with.
Our favorite, yeah.
I finished my gin chocolate.
Good job.
Okay, thank you very much. Nice scene. And also from the sound design,
Yeah.
this was redubbed, I think you can say, with sound. It was the punches that Gozzotto delivered on Pierce Brosnan sounded a lot different before the censors got hold of it. Because they really sounded like tiny bones cracking and stuff in his jaw. And the producers were told to change that, otherwise they wouldn't get the PG rating they wanted. And that happened before in other films. It happened in License to Kill. There it was swear words that were used. They had to be cut, like Timothy Dalton calling Lupe Lamora a slut and stuff like that. This had to be cut. And that scene I thought was really, it worked well, but it was very brutal.
Yeah. And this is actually where I think Guts also was really injured with that knife, right?
Yes, he got a real knife wound there. Yeah.
Because I think the story he told was that he had a wood plate hidden in the jacket, and actually the knife went through a little bit.
Yeah, and the emotion here is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But he did it brilliantly. He did a brilliant job in hiding it. Where maybe other actors of today would have said, oh, stop filming, stop, cut, and something. Gozzotto, really, he is a number. I love him. Great guy.
Can't wait to share the story afterwards. Even got the special DVD back there, but we're just going to wait for that a little bit.
That's nice. That's good. Fantastic. Gareth asks us if we're doing a watch-along for Die Another Day. Are we?
Yes.
Of course we are.
Of course.
In 2 weeks. Gareth. Yep. Is that more torture than Bond's torture scene in the film itself? I hated Die Another Day. I still love it. I don't know why. It's a strange thing, me and Die Another Day. I love it. But I'll tell you all about that when we watch Die Another Day together.
Yes. Right.
Because I really like it. And not just because of Rosamund Pike.
No, it's a good point. I'm really torn still. I can't make... But it's a Brosnan Bond movie, so of course I love it, but...
Yeah. Definitely. It was the last one. It was a good send-off on a bitter note, because it had that bad CGI and stuff, and it was a bit over the top. If they had toned it down a bit more, it would have been a better send-off.
Yes, that's right.
I love the music here. With the full melody he used so often during that film. The Surrender melody. A fantastic song, by the way. Very simple, however, from the lyrics, Surrender. What a really, really great song. Zachary asks, who do you want to direct Bond? I'd love to see Tom Ford do it, because his work on Nocturnal Animals was so good. Ooh, Tom Ford. thought he made the suits.
Me too.
Just kidding. Actually, I haven't seen Nocturnal Animals. And I'm not an expert on directors, by the way. Because for years and years and years, I didn't care about directors because I was just consuming films. I'm just being downright honest here. And I know, of course, that the director is the driving force behind any film, but I never gave much thought to it about roughly 10 years ago. When you have something to compare it with. So you have Martin Campbell's work. I've seen many of Martin Campbell's films, and I can judge his directorial work. I have seen nothing of Cary Fukunaga, so I can't judge his work. I haven't seen many films of Roger Spottiswoode. So the same applies there. So I have no name who I would like to direct Bond. In loving memory of Cubby Broccoli.
Yes.
First film made after his passing. Great film.
Yep.
And the first film that actually has a running time under 2 hours. Since Diamonds Are Forever.
There we go.
Every other film was over 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Surrender, sung by the great K.D. Lang. Would that have worked as a main title song?
Well, to be very honest here, after GoldenEye, I wasn't particularly keen on any of the songs, pre-title or the title song or the credit song. I love the melodies and I loved how they were intertwined in the score, but the songs themselves, I was not really. I don't listen to them anymore. That's
okay. What do you think of Sheryl Crow's performance of Tomorrow Never Dies?
It's okay, it does the trick, but again, the song itself is not something that really, captures my attention.
Okay. You have heard that many other performers have thrown their hat in the ring to sing Tomorrow Never Dies. Or was it Pulp was in there? Swan Lee. Have you heard any of those?
No, I think the only thing, was that GoldenEye when they had Ace of Base?
Yeah.
Oh, it was GoldenEye, okay.
That was GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah, no, it was not really Bondy, no.
It was it was 90s, but it was terrible.
Yeah.
And actually, the song that Pulp did, which was called Tomorrow Never Lies, is actually a fantastic song. From the way the music is and the lyrics, I liked it more than Tomorrow Never Dies by oh shit.
What?
Sheryl Crow.
Yeah.
Oh God. Help.
I think to me a good Bond theme, or when I really like to start a Bond song, is when it actually at least partially has the Bond theme in it.
Okay. How many Bond theme songs actually have the Bond theme in it?
Well, let's start with Goldfinger. And then you have GoldenEye, of course.
But Goldfinger, they don't really have a part of the Bond theme in
They
there.
have it in there.
What was that?
That was Goldfinger.
Oh. Interesting.
It has the Bond theme in there. GoldenEye as well.
Sounded like something else.
Pretty girls, beware of his heart of gold. His heart, da 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 da.
Ah, there. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I know what you mean. Okay.
Yeah. GoldenEye as well. After the big swell up, the first swell up, then it goes quiet again, and then da 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 da. Then the background there's the Bond theme going.
Yeah.
Skyfall, of course, had it all over the place.
Yeah. Oh, you mentioned Skyfall on your own.
Yeah. What can you say?
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Me too.
Which is good, because Zachary asked if I like Billie Eilish's song.
Oh, goodness.
I did. I love it.
Yeah.
Almost bought a Billie Eilish pullover last week.
Good.
Could have worn it today, but didn't. Out of respect for my dear friend Yannick. And it's too large, you can't see it. So, that was it. Fantastic film. Love it. Still
Yep.
love it.
Yeah.
It's a big screen film, certainly. And I said it before when we spoke about Tomorrow Never Dies and all of that. The film is now how old? Over 20 years. 23 years old. And the villain having the plot to send two nations against each other by media manipulation in his own newspaper. And he constructs that himself so that he can write the headlines he wants, which sounds a lot like situations we face today. And I think that film today is more relevant than anything else, especially saying Russia interfering in American election in 2016, which through a new HBO documentary called Agents of Chaos is revealed that there is in St. Petersburg there is actually a firm that calls itself the Internet Research Agency, but the nickname is the Troll Factory, which is basically they are a company and all the people who work there are computer nerds who set up fake profiles and real fake news websites to influence people's opinion on certain matters. And when I saw that 2-part documentary, I thought, oh, interesting. So it's not new to me that there is fake stuff around on the internet. Everybody knows that. Everybody with a bit of intelligence should know that a lot on the internet is fake. But to create a fake news website to influence people's opinion, it was first done when there was the election in the Ukraine. This Troll Factory in St. Petersburg set up fake websites to create an anti-sentiment towards the Ukraine. And Russians really got heated over Ukraine and how bad they all are. And it was all misinformation. And I thought, this is right, the plot of Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yes.
And then you have the Russian interference in the American election, which they are actively doing now while the election is running and the White House knows about it. And I think this is the most dangerous thing on the planet, to have another country interfere in your democratic process. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, Switzerland being a country not tied to the European Union, you have always been on your own in decision making, in politics, while being in the center of Europe. Would you like any other country to interfere with your democratic processes?
No, of course not.
I mean, it would be outrageous.
Yes.
In Europe, and especially now watching Tomorrow Never Dies again, the figure of Elliot Carver for me represents these organizations that are sent out by an unknown entity, well, in that case Russia, in St. Petersburg, to create fake stuff that everybody consumes and can make up their own minds about it. So some troll could write Yannick Zenhäusern is not a good composer because he did that and that, and they do it as long as people believe it. And I think that's really dangerous.
Yeah.
That's really dangerous. I mean, trolls are one thing. If there's a troll on your YouTube account, and you've had encounters a lot, I think, where they say, oh, you had that one troll on that Spies Don't Die video where he said you took donations and stuff and you are fakers, and I read that.
Oh, it was GoldenEye, yes, right.
Yeah, and that is basic trolling, but everybody who reads that or read it and commented under it, total disgrace, that guy, he has no idea of anything, and it was quickly dismissed.
Yes.
But on a bigger scale,
Yes.
You can wreak havoc with that.
That's right. And a lie told over and over again at one point almost becomes the truth. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have certainly arrived at that point,
Yeah.
even with an American president telling things so wrong and so often until people believe they are true.
Yes.
And not going too political here, but we will see how the election goes on the 3rd of November. But certainly Tomorrow Never Dies, the plot is more interesting today than probably it was 23 years ago.
That's right, because 23 years ago was completely outrageous and unthinkable, and these days, I mean,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
that's right. And I think also, like I say, I work in the media myself, but I still think when I see what is going on and how there's always two ways you can tell a story, depending on what you focus on. You can still, you can make something sound really good by amplifying certain things. You can make something sound really bad by amplifying the other things. I mean, you can tell
Absolutely.
story. If someone sells a warehouse, you can tell the story, basically saying, he's selling a warehouse and new things can be built in there, and you can use it for this and that. Or you can tell the story and say that it's taken away land from other people. And so, yeah, it's really, and I think media is aware of that, and surely some, at least, take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Okay.
So,
Your story of Götz Otto.
yes. So this is
Great
the
story.
DVD actually. It's a fun story. I try to make it as brief as possible, so not to get too overly long. But I work at the radio station here. One day I was on a shift, and there was a commercial came up for a play here in the town, and it actually said featuring blah 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 and Götz Otto, and I said, what, Götz Otto? And I rang up the manager of this theater and asked him, is this really Götz Otto, known from like Bond movies and so on? He said, no idea, I have to check that. He rang me back and said, yeah, it's that Götz Otto apparently. And I said, he's coming, this guy is coming to our town. Can we arrange an interview or something like that? And he said, yeah, he will. And then they wrote back and forth, and then I got Götz Otto's email address, and we wrote back and forth, and he said, okay, the play starts at 7. I don't have a lot of time, but I would love to talk to you. Come by at 6:30. We'll have a brief chat. You can do your interview real quick. And then that Saturday, when the play was supposed to take place, I had the early shift, so I was off duty at about 1 p.m. And so I said, now I'm going to get home, and my car was in a repair shop back then. And I have to walk a really steep road or steep way to get home. And so I walked slowly at home, and then our receptionist phoned me and said, "There's a large German guy here. He's waiting for you." And I said, "What? Why is he already arrived?" And so on. Then I ran home because I wanted to pick up this DVD. I wanted to have his signature on it. I ran home, ran back to the radio station, and there he was. There was Götz Otto, and I was so nervous because it was the first big celebrity I have met from the Bond world. And he was so incredibly nice. He was such a kind guy, and he came there, and I asked him, "Well, why are you here?" And he said, "Well, I just arrived with it by train, and I just thought if you're so eager to meet me, I thought we could spend a little bit time together." And so we talked about for 1 or 2 hours about Tomorrow Never Dies, which you said, Benjamin, he talks very openly about and is very proud of that. And yeah, then I said, "Well, would you mind signing this?" And he said, "Yeah, of course." And actually, you can see here on the inside. I hope you can read it. He can you read it?
Oh yeah, I can. I owe you an unpleasant death.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And I did the interview about Tomorrow Never Dies. He told me about his other film work and so on. And then when the interview was done, it was about 3 p.m. And then he said, "Well, I have a little bit of time. Why show me around town a little bit? I have a little bit of time at my hand. Just show me around." And then we went for a walk, and we talked about football and life and stuff like that. And then he went to get something to eat, and then he had his play, which I went to watch, which was fantastic. It was the King's Speech. And yeah, then while doing that, while we walked around town, I also asked him, because that was the time you, Benjamin, were filming the Bond for Life, and I asked him, Benjamin is a good friend of mine, and he has this project, and he's tried to get in touch with you via management, and he basically said, management is a little bit difficult. Give him my email address so we can get in touch, and that's where things took place from then on, and maybe you could take it from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I got in touch with him. It was only a few days after he was in Switzerland, and it was a very, very lovely, a nice email contact, and refreshing, because he was not over a management, which is very difficult to get to, and it's a lot of back and forth. And he was very open about meeting, and he was happy about being in my film, because it was for UNICEF, and all the stars that I interviewed, 13 in total, including Sir Ken Adam, were very happy to do that, and nobody ever asked for compensation or whatever, because it was for a good cause. And I met Götz just a couple of kilometers away from here when he was at the theater, because he played the King's Speech. He played the father of Her Majesty the Queen in the King's Speech, which you all know as a film starring what was his name?
Colin Firth.
Colin Firth. I'm saying, the later the evening, the worse I get with names.
And I get better now.
And I know all of them, and I've seen the films inside out, and I love Colin Firth, and he was in Mamma Mia with Pierce Brosnan, obviously. Yeah, so Götz Otto played that part brilliantly, the father of the Queen.
Yes.
A fantastic performance. I mean, you've seen it too.
Yes. Brilliant.
That man is a force of an actor.
Yeah.
Really. And we sat down before his performance in the theater when he had dinner, and it was like sort of a typical German village restaurant where
Brauhaus.
Wirtshaus, where sort of like 5 people are playing cards at the table behind you, and they are incredibly loud, shouting card related stuff. And I was trying to do an interview with Götz. And I have all of that background noise although he had a microphone and I had a microphone. And that was the day I gave him the honorary membership in the German James Bond Club. So he is an honorary member of our club. And he just adored that.
Yes.
That we would think of him in that way. And Danny was with me, Danny Morgenstern, the author of Unnecessary James Bond Knowledge. And it was fun for him too, because he then got in touch with Götz, and they spoke while I was on the loo, and he invited Götz to a cinema event here in Braunschweig in 2015 when we had Thunderball in the cinema, 50 years of Thunderball, and our guest star was Götz Otto.
And he loved every second of it.
He loved every second of it. Interacting with the fans, signing, being photographed with the Lotus car that we had nothing to do with Thunderball, neither Götz Otto nor the Lotus, but that's what we do. And really, really, really great. And we've been in touch with Götz ever since.
By the way, guys, I just posted the link to the video that about the scene that Benjamin just talked about in the in the restaurant where he got this honorary membership. And just a little thing I would like to add, when we saw, I think, surely you felt the same, actually seeing him in the play, it just constantly sent chills down my spine, because you had, sorry for saying this, you had Stamper a couple of meters in front of you on the stage doing his job, being an actor, the same guy who was so prominently featured in Tomorrow Never Dies, and I just couldn't sort of course the roles were completely different, but it was just so amazing to be so close to him when he does his job. And
absolutely.
Wow.
There's actually no link, Yannick. You said here's the video of this, and there is no link.
It is, but it's not. You have to copy it. It just.
Okay, I can't see it too, but okay. Is that still your first glass of wine, Benji? No, it's the second bottle. Because it's a totally different taste. But this is a great wine because it has a funny animal on it, and I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody can tell me what kind of animal that is. I have absolutely no idea. Is it a cat?
Looks like it.
It's certainly a fat cat.
But you still can't see the link? I've posted now 5 to 6 times.
No, I can't see it.
Why? With the share and everything.
Where is that video, by the way?
German Bond Club.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's the 10th time I'm posting it, but it
Oh well. Okay.
doesn't
Should I
work.
try?
Yeah, sure. Well, let me send it to you real quick.
I'll try. I mean, we don't want to divert people from our stream
No,
over to Gazzotto interview, but it's certainly worth a watch.
it's worth it. Yes.
And there's the interview with you as well.
Yes,
Where did you send it to me?
via Skype chat.
Oh, okay. Ah, that's open somewhere else. I have it. But it's in German, isn't it? Is it in German?
I think.
Yeah. No, that's not good.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Does it have subtitles? I don't know. Well, Zachary said, I think you're a filmmaker. Well, I am, sort of. I made this documentary, A Bond for Life, How James Bond Changed My Life, from 2014 to 2016, which spans 20 years of my fan life. It has Gazzotto in it. It has a lot of other talents in it. Martine Beswick, Nikki van der Zyl, who voiced most of the Bond girls, revoiced them in the English-speaking versions. Luciana Paluzzi. Yannick is in there. Yannick did the music. A fantastic film which we cannot release globally right now because of copyright issues, and I still have the dream of reworking it as a YouTube weekly series to extend it a bit, because there's a lot of footage that we didn't use. We filmed in Switzerland as well. We filmed in Hamburg at the Hotel Atlantic and in the Hotel Atlantic, which is great footage. And it's sad if it has to disappear in the archive, but it was supposed to be a event film for UNICEF. So that people come to see the film in the cinema, and parts of the ticket prices were subtracted to give to UNICEF, which we did. We raised over 4,000 euros for children in Syria, which was my goal. And I gave the film to Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson. I spoke to Barbara Broccoli about the film, and she knows it exists, and it's probably on her table at Eon Productions in London, because I brought it there myself. After an event that they had in Bond in Motion with David Arnold.
And actually, that's Benjamin talking, of course, but it is a very good documentary, and like you said it yourself, it raised a lot of money, and we could actually take it to some cinemas, which was always a great occasion. I've enjoyed it every time in Germany, in Braunschweig, in Switzerland, where we showed it. It's really, it really moved something. It was also very meaningful to me as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of great footage, guest stars, original locations from Tomorrow Never Dies, There Was Not Enough, GoldenEye.
Yeah, certainly. When we filmed in London, it was a lot of GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies locations, and The World Is Not Enough, obviously. Millennium Dome being one of my favorites, because I was there with Marcos Conce. He was there on that day. He came from Brazil, so that was really a treat to film with him on location. And many of the Bond fans had nice things to say about their experience, because the subtitle of the film's title, A Bond for Life, is How James Bond Changed Your Life. And I asked the question to actors and fans alike. And many had their career paths changed because of Bond, fans and actors, like Gazzotto. Because he was in Bond, he could work internationally as an English-speaking actor. And many fans, like Morten Steingrimsen from Norway, he went into film distribution because he was so much interested in the Bond franchise. And he's now working in film journalism and distribution. So it changes all our lives. It affects all of our lives.
And which is your favorite interview? I know it, of course, but
Luciana Paluzzi.
Yeah, there we go.
Definitely, because she was that was in Oslo, and I think she's 71, 73 now, I think. But that interview was like two two children exchanging. It was so funny because I had questions prepared in my head, but she overtook the interview and like that. Oh, Thunderball, did you say 50 years ago or 5 years ago? It was like that voice was there, that Italian influenced voice, which I find so sexy. And you sit next to that woman in a gorgeous dress, and you have a dinner jacket on and everything. It's so surreal in a way. And your light is completely off of your camera. It was much too bright, and fantastic. That was the interview I liked most. Yeah.
Okay,
definitely.
There we go.
Because it's very, very charming. Very charming.
Yes, and it comes across as that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everybody loved it on the big screen, and they commented on Luciana. Martine Beswick as well, who finally put an end to that discussion of Bond girls not being called Bond girls anymore. They have to be called Bond ladies or Bond women. No, definitely not. All this political correctness.
Yeah, it's taking over. Yeah,
stop it already.
Yeah, no one feels better because of it, you know.
No, I mean, I'm a very liberal person, but there has to be an end to pretty much anything. I mean, I have nothing against somebody who does things in a different way. I have nothing against people who live vegetarian or vegan or whatever. Everybody should be happy in the way they think they are happy. I mean, I'm doing the same. If I want to sleep the whole day, I sleep the whole day.
Sure.
Yeah, and I don't want anybody to comment on that. So I'm open to pretty much everything. But yeah, and then you have the political correctness people who change the way you live through their perception of things.
Yes, right, exactly.
And then you cannot say certain things anymore. Names are changed that you know since your childhood. But I only have German-speaking examples. That's not good for the international audience to understand. Yeah. What was it? What is a gypsy schnitzel? That's what we have in Germany.
Yeah.
The gypsy schnitzel.
Yeah.
It's called like that because it has a tasty sauce with paprika and stuff. And now it's not supposed to be called gypsy schnitzel anymore because it's racist.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which is ridiculous, but okay.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
We are so far off from Tomorrow Never Dies. I think you can't get further away.
Even with Skyfall, we can't get further away. Yeah. But I was just about to bring that up. Quickly coming back to the music, I'm just saying something. Do you think Tomorrow Never Dies is David Arnold's best soundtrack in his Brosnan tenure?
Ooh, that's a close tie with The World Is Not Enough. Being largely orchestral, and I know because I had the CD rather rapidly. But when did the film come out here? 98, February 98 or something. And I think I got the soundtrack pretty much after that, and listened through it, and still do today. And I'm an orchestral person. I love big orchestras. I love to sing with big orchestras, challenging my voice to a big orchestra. And I like crossovers, pop meets orchestra, pop meets classic and stuff like that. And I've known David Arnold's work from Stargate, where he composed music that makes me cry, but it's from an action science fiction film. Which is ridiculous. But I mean, I cry at the end of Jurassic Park, so I don't know. I have too many female hormones or whatever. I don't know. No, it reminds me of my childhood, And Stargate had music that was like a hymn to science fiction films. And he has a way of composing exactly these tunes, and if you take them out of context, if you take the music somewhere and you do a video privately of some nice cityscape or the beach or something, a holiday film, and you put the Stargate music over it, it becomes epic. It instantly becomes epic. When you do that with the opening theme, White Knight, and I chase you on your motorcycle, and on my bike because I don't have a driver's license, and you put White Knight over it, it's going to be epic in some way.
Yes, right.
And that's what David Arnold achieved with also the boat chase in the world is not enough. Fantastic stuff. Which is a 2-part track. So on the CD it switches from Show Me the Money 007 to the other track, and the track switches from 2 to 3 within the music playing, which is ridiculous.
It's weird, yeah.
They could have just had one track, but it was a great departure from Eric Serra's music. I think they went in the right direction to give that job to David Arnold. I don't think John Barry would have scored the Brosnan films the right way.
Yeah, that's right. I agree.
As much as I love and adore John Barry's body of work, I don't think he would have been the right person for GoldenEye or Tomorrow Never Dies or The World Is Not Enough or Die Another Day or anything subsequent. I think David Arnold, he's just a fantastic talent.
It's the main difference to me when listening to or comparing these two composers is we've talked about this before as well, is that John Barry has these very sweeping and very sort of, for lack of a better word, very sort of relaxed compositions. It's always tied together. It's one thing, while David Arnold has this other thing down, which is very erratic compositions where there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of jumping around, a lot of you have brass flares, and then the French horns do different things, and the strings go wild, and it's a wild mess. It's a nicely organized wild mess. Of course, huge credit also to Nicholas Dodd, who's done fantastic orchestrations. And John Barry, of course, he also has his da-da-da-da moments, but it always seems very, very gentleman-like, I would always like to say.
Yeah.
It's slower. It's a slower pace. It feels like a slower pace to me.
It's like John Barry's scores to the Bond films are like, or maybe to any film that he scored, they are like a tailor-made suit to that film and to the theme and the setting of the film. If you take his music for Out of Africa, for example, or Raise the Titanic, always according to the theme of the film and to the image being shown on the screen, the music fits like a well-made, well-tailored suit. And David Arnold is more like the Hawaiian shirt, certainly in Die Another Day.
Yeah.
But that depends. You can be a well-tailored suit person or a Hawaiian Joe Don Baker kind of person, Jack Wade. But you can also be both.
I think that's also the thing. Do you know what David Arnold's musical background is first and foremost? I would say something like jazz or something.
I don't know. Keyboards, maybe?
Because the thing is...
do you know?
No, I don't know for sure, but you can tell. Look, there's a difference. For instance, John Williams, which I would say all of you know from Jurassic Park and Star Wars, and so especially the Indiana Jones Star Wars movies. He's the master at organizing mess. There's just a lot of stuff going on. Of course, the big themes apart from that, but the music that is in between that is a lot of mess. And I think that's very indicative of a jazzy background, because jazz is very disfigured and just this, I would say, disjointed and just a lot of weird stuff going on. Absolutely. John Barry comes from a rock and roll background. Rock and roll, of course, is very easy, simple structured music that is very straightforward, has a clear beat, clear chord progression, and you can tell that John Barry 7, you can tell that he comes from a rock and roll background, very well organized, very very, you can clearly tell what is going on. Again, as opposed to, like we say, John Williams, who has these very erratic compositions that's very jazzy. It's ding, ding, bling, bing, boom, boom, ding, 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 da, 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 this stuff,
Yeah. Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that background is sort of,
Yep. Zachary says, I'm sorry I have to say that, I feel like Arnold's work in the Craig films becomes even more Barry-like as time went on. A notable mention on Arnold's work is Casino Royale, where he really and his last one was Quantum of Solace, which was also all over the place from the camera work. But Casino Royale was indeed going more into the Barry direction, and that's why I like. It compares Die Another Day to Casino Royale. If you see how many scene changes Die Another Day has, I mean, it's going from here to there to everywhere. Yeah, I like that. Casino Royale topped that because it had like, I don't know, 10 plus thematic scenes, and you jumped from one place and one storyline to another place and another storyline, and another character that is introduced that opens a whole different storyline, a third one, and Arnold had to score all of that. And his soothing love themes in Casino Royale are some of his most outstanding work, I think, because that film was not easy to score. Die Another Day, on the other hand, must have also not been easy to score because it was so techno-like.
Yes.
With a satellite weapon and an invisible car and all of that shit. I mean, and not shit, obviously. It was somehow fun. I mean, let's not forget, this is escapism. But the longer the films get, the more difficult it is to keep tension through music.
That's right.
I think, and to appreciate a score for a very long film.
It's hard. It's tiring.
It's difficult. It's tiring. And for a composer, I mean, I don't know. Usually you compose when the film is finished, right? I don't know how it was with Tomorrow Never Dies, if everything was the way they wanted it when Arnold was brought on board and started composing.
Probably, just to interject really quickly, probably not, because when you listen to the opening of Tomorrow Never Dies very closely, there are many quite hard cuts in the music. It's not the way it's on the soundtrack, and if you listen to it closely, you can clearly hear the cuts and the fades and stuff, and it's pretty.
We should actually have him here for that kind of discussion.
Yeah, right.
I mean, should I write to him
Sure.
one day that if he wants to do a live Q&A with us together? Would you like that, guys? I can write David Arnold anytime and see if he has the time. He's been on other panels. I mean, especially in the Corona time where everything has been done online.
Right.
Martin says bring him in for the Twine live stream. Would be an idea.
Yeah, of course.
But we have a fixed time, you know. If he has time, then I mean I can ask. But
Sure.
I only want to ask him once because I don't want to bother him too much. I mean, this was the first interview I did with a famous person. It was David Arnold, and it went horribly sideways. Because I was sort of that little tiny Bond fan with a camera and a microphone that I had to stick on his expensive suit, and the left side didn't work and the right side didn't work because I had shaky fingers, and it was late in the night after his concert debut in the Royal Festival Hall in London, and I didn't want to keep him longer than necessary, and I was totally unprofessional, but he did the interview and I cut it so that it looks like we both had actually fun.
Yeah, it worked in the final product. It worked, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's a nice guy, and he would be into that. But I think we should separate that from a watch along, because we talk so much. We would constantly interrupt each other. But having a panel discussion with David Arnold just about the music that he did for his Brosnan ones,
Yes.
I would like to have that as a live stream. We
Absolutely.
could certainly try to set that up with
I
him.
would love it,
That,
yes,
that would be
absolutely.
a good idea, because then we can set the time according to his needs and
Yes.
not to ours, because we fixed ourselves to every Thursday, so next
Yes.
Thursday will be The World's Not Enough, and the Thursday after that, which is already November, we will be watching Die Another Day. So he would have had the time on next Thursday, so I think that's a bit short notice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Well,
but
let's try to do that. Good idea.
yeah, I promise we'll get in touch with David Arnold and see if he wants to join us for something.
Yes. Coming back to the music real quick.
Absolutely.
The fans, and certainly myself as well, they have noticed and commented on the lack of Bond theme in the last couple of movies. It's something I've noticed too, of course, especially in the Thomas Newman era. But it was also noticeable in the Casino Royale scores and so on that there was a considerably less amount of the Bond theme being intertwined in the overall score, which I think David Arnold even commented at one point that he said that it was a deliberate decision. You know, it was like, and I think it's not even to blame the composer, because somehow, you know, this Bond theme, it fitted to Sean Connery, it fitted to Roger Moore, it fitted very well with the debonair delivery of Pierce Brosnan. The Bond theme was just perfect for that. But for these sort of rugged portrayal and for that sort of the whole mood and attitude of Bond changing with Daniel Craig, the Bond theme was just not appropriate anymore. I saw some rescores and it just didn't work somehow.
Absolutely.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that. 100%. Yeah, definitely. What's your favorite score of David Arnold?
I think when I judge by it's the same question when someone asks me which is your favorite Bond movie, and I always go by what Bond movie do I watch the most. It's the same, which score do I listen to the most. I think the biggest density of tracks that I keep listening repeatedly is Tomorrow Never Dies. With the possible exception of The World Is Not Enough, and there was a release of an expanded score by La La Land Records, I think, what was it, last year?
Mm-hmm.
And where it had the Bilbao cue on it, and
Finally.
yes, finally, it was about time. And I think which was it? There were other things missing. The Kazakhstan track or the Baku track. I don't know which. Yeah. Some other ones. Anyway. I think Tomorrow Never Dies probably, but Twine has very, very solid pieces as well. It's
Absolutely.
Hard. One of those two, yeah.
Absolutely, definitely. What I have on my mobile is I always have White Knight.
Yeah.
Because it's a nice. I think it's 8 minutes long.
Yes.
So whenever I'm on the bus, it's really great to listen to. I have the Boat Chase of the World Is Not Enough on there, definitely. But I have a lot of stuff from Die Another Day, funny enough.
There are some very good tracks, yes.
There are some very good tracks, and I think Die Another Day is the score, if you look at the complete score, not just the one that was released on CD, but there's also the La La Land extended edition, and this is 2 CDs packed full of cues that are simply breathtaking.
Breathtaking, yeah.
I mean, there is breathtaking stuff.
Yeah, like the wheelchair access. There's an alternate version to that, and it's fantastic.
Absolutely. Being as electronic as it is, the Ice Chase, I still like to listen to that apart from outside of the film.
Really?
Yeah, because it is a fantastic track.
To me, it's just too wild.
Yeah, well, that was a bit Christopher Walken. Well. Well,
not even
Yannick.
Intentionally. That's the worst part about
Not even intentionally, yeah, but it's still good.
It's creeping in.
I mean, I don't listen to the Ice Chase when I'm on the horse, obviously, because that would be a bit weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know. On the bus, I like to listen to it. I like that electronic stuff. I'm into that.
Yeah, well, it's just, you know, it's a matter of how far you go, and when you can just hear and stuff. But what I really love is what they did with the Twine, the extended score, is that they came up with some really interesting ideas. For example, that they had a track which had the gun barrel, the separate elements, like just the orchestral part, and one time just the electronic parts. It's really interesting. It's not something you can listen to as a track, like a piece of music, but it's very interesting to hear these things apart, and then when they're combined.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, so true. Being James Bond is here. Joe Darlington. Hello. I don't know how late this is in America now. I think it must be really late. I mean, for me, it's still early evening. You as well.
No, it's in the afternoon there, or towards the evening.
Yeah, here it's 10 to 10 in the evening. 10 to 11. 10 to 11. Not just before 5 p.m. Yeah. I'm sorry that we are on so early. 8 o'clock in Germany. Sorry. But that's about, I don't know. Yeah, Central Europe time is 10 to 11. I mean, if we go on later, I mean, if you guys like us to, but it'll drag on, I think. I mean, what's the latest you can do? Do you have to work tomorrow?
Yes.
I don't.
Well, stupid me, right?
Sorry. Holidays.
Well, I still haven't joined an evil organization yet.
Yeah, you should. It's
Probably, yeah.
tons of fun. What would your evil plan be if you would join an evil organization or indeed form one?
Oh, wow.
Come on, you're Swiss. You must have an evil plan.
Does it have to be realistic, as in what would I really do? Or are you asking about the movie plot? An interesting movie plot?
Why? Think of a game you would do, like Spies Don't Die. I mean, can you
Yeah.
tell us what the evil plot is?
Yeah, I can give some things away. It's actually, it's about, well, the Soviet Union, of course. It stole a bunch or shot a bunch of satellites up in space that they used as communication satellite, a communication network. And when the Soviet Union collapsed, a Canadian entrepreneur bought all the satellites and is now extending that chain of satellites with actually nuclear devices in space. And he uses the existing former Soviet communication satellites as guidance satellites, and the new ones he uses as nuclear ramps, so to speak. And he holds the world ransom, basically, and wants to destroy parts of the world. Parts of the world that he had a connection with when he was younger. It's basically a revenge story.
Okay.
So a little bit like Alec Trevelyan, who sort of is set out to avenge the death of his parents and everything he had to go through. It's sort of again our bad guy had to suffer a lot of pain in his life, and now when he's a lot of money and he has all the financial means to make this happen, he wants to take revenge.
But yeah, dragging the old Soviet Union into it, basically.
Yes.
As a plot element. Do you think it's better to draw inspiration from history, from historic events, or from things that are completely made up?
I think it's the most interesting thing I find is when it's something that has a very tight connection to reality that could have taken place. Actually didn't, or you'd really have to look it up to see if it really didn't take place. But it's something that would be possible, so it feels like it's almost real, but then again, it wasn't. That I find the most interesting. Like something like the plot with Carver is something that it's not so far-fetched like we said before, actually, when thinking about these times.
Yeah, it was far-fetched back then, and I think I remember talking to my mother about it. She didn't see that one. She saw GoldenEye, and she didn't see Tomorrow Never Dies because she died in early '97 when the film was still in production. I think when they had begun shooting then, and I don't know. I spoke to my grandma about that, or my cousin. I don't remember, but it was not a thing to manipulate media or false headlines, fake news, and all of that. It was not a thing. So it was a complete film plot. And like I said earlier, today, when you take it into today's context, and certainly political, it has a greater relevance to things happening today all around us. And I mean, there is misinformation every day. I look at my Facebook timeline, or I look on Twitter or whatever, which I don't do regularly. I don't look on Twitter. Sometimes just for fun, I read some tweets by Donald Trump. But certainly Facebook has a lot of what my friends post. There is a line underneath that says fact-checked, incorrect, something. And I said, oh, the original story sounded completely logical to me, and it's actually. And there are websites. One is based in Austria that they have a company. They fact check everything the entire day. They have people on there fact checking things that swirl around the internet.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And actually, in Spies Don't Die, there's a subplot where you have one of the henchmen, so to speak, of the main villain, who is a former Soviet hardliner, and he, in this whole scheme, wants to use this whole scheme to bring back the reins of the Soviet Union, so to speak. Which I personally, now of course nowadays it's a bit further away, but I think that's not far-fetched. I mean, especially after the fall of the Soviet Union, there must have been many hardliners or people that have been brainwashed that sort of never wanted to accept that whole construct fell apart and wanted to bring it back.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And I mean, politically, you can turn everything into a Bond plot. I mean, I remember when Bond was in Berlin in Octopussy. I mean, it was totally difficult for the film crew to film on either side of the Iron Curtain. They had to get so many permissions that they almost cancelled the entire thing.
Yeah.
But taking a promotional picture of Roger Moore standing in front of the Brandenburg Gate with the wall close by and holding his Walther PPK just for a promotional image, I mean, unheard of.
Yeah.
And at the same time, what we didn't know in the West, that the East was training their soldiers with Bond films, which is ridiculous enough. But then you have stories like the Stasi and everything doing almost like Fleming-esque and Bond-esque operations in the West.
Right.
And I recently saw a documentary about the murder of a German politician, where they had three, because it's an unsolved murder, they had three different ways the story could have gone.
Yeah.
And one likely version was the RAF, the second was the Stasi, and the third was an unknown entity hired by another unknown entity.
Yes.
Which could have been Russia. Whatever. And totally interesting with archive footage that they filmed right after the wall came down.
You
when they asked, I mentioned that,
You mentioned that last time, and actually, why I bring this up is I watched it right after our watch along of Golden. I watched this documentary about Roberta, and it was really fascinating. Yeah, it's on Netflix, and it's really worth watching. Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, and
what makes it so daunting is that still, as of today, it is not resolved.
Absolutely, yeah. Like so many murders are not resolved. Yeah. And in that regard, if you want to watch a really good documentary that has to do with media manipulation, especially if you like Tomorrow Never Dies and Carver's Plot, watch Agents of Chaos. It's on HBO if you live in America. I think you can get it somewhere on a subscription basis or something. Also in Europe. If not, it will probably be released on DVD. It's a fascinating look into the Russian troll factory that used a lot of media manipulation also to influence the 2016 American presidential election, and is probably meddling in that now. It is something we have to talk about cross-country, no matter if you like one country or if you dislike a president. That has nothing to do with the whole thing. Documentaries, and it's not a whistleblower documentary, you know. It's not like Edward Snowden stuff or something like that. It is what it is. Just look at it. It's a 2-part documentary. It would be fun if actually the documentary is false information, but it seemed certainly very, very plausible and very well researched. So, but you never know. You never know in these times what is true, what is fact, and what is not. And I find that frightening, personally. I find that really frightening.
Yeah. Now, very important point about Tomorrow Never Dies, of the Bond theme, the Bond movies in general, especially I'm talking about the Brosnan ones now. Is just to change the subject back to the movie. Is the way they make me feel. I don't know if you experience this as well, but watching Tomorrow Never Dies or thinking about it in the spare time when you drive your car or whatever, it just, that sense of escapism and bigger than life, and with the music and the costumes, the suits and everything.
Yeah.
Tomorrow Never Dies is probably one of the flashiest of the Brosnan ones. And
absolutely.
I can hardly describe it, but the way the movie makes me feel is just out of this world.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree. And what also is true for me is what Roger Moore always said: we want 2 hours of good fun and entertainment, and that's what I had from GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The
Yes.
World's Not Enough, Die Another Day. Don't care. When I went to the cinema to see it on first release initially, the first viewing, it was just escapism. I didn't think about any plot holes or any continuity errors or whatever. It was just watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I've done that with every Bond film. What is strange about the films you find out later,
Yeah.
much later, when you have the DVD, when you have read a lot on the internet, when you have exchanged views with others like we're doing today, and then you can have another outlook on a film, and you have a rewatch, and your opinion shifts somewhat. But the initial viewing in the cinema is 2 hours of escapism, action, fun, and humor, and that's what I always had,
Yeah, that's right.
with the exception of Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, well,
What I got out of that was a headache.
I'm not even going to dignify that with an answer. But what do you think about? No, moving away from that stuff. What do you think about Brosnan's performance, maybe in relation to GoldenEye?
What? Again, I read Jorit's comment. I'm sorry.
Thin plot. Like I said, what do you think about Brosnan? What?
Jorit.
No, really.
They don't have a thin plot. Really.
Yeah. Have you watched a Daniel Craig movie any time? Well, anyway. What do you think of Brosnan's performance in Tomorrow Never Dies, maybe compared to GoldenEye, or just in general?
You certainly learned a lot from his performance in GoldenEye, and Tomorrow Never Dies was a lot more balanced, but the same slick Brosnan that I'm used to, also from Remington Steele, which I've seen as a kid, actually. It's not that I just discovered that after he played Bond. I've seen Remington Steele on reruns on German television. I wouldn't go as far as to say he is too slick and clean in his portrayal of Bond, but very elegant and sophisticated, and that's what I have always liked about Bond. I don't know if I'm happy with, I have to compare it with Daniel Craig being the more rugged Bond, but I can go back to Timothy Dalton if you're happier with that, because he was rugged and more Fleming-like, and I loved that a lot.
Timothy Dalton does it right, yes. Timothy Dalton does Bond rugged right. That's my, yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. But where do you find that ruggedness? I mean, it's not in the action sequences.
No, but I don't know if it's his demeanor, but Timothy Dalton to me can be a rugged Bond while still being classy and still being sort of a debonair character, which Daniel Craig clearly completely fails to deliver.
Yeah, and where this becomes evident for me with Timothy Dalton's portrayal is, for example, when you look at the situation on the fair in Vienna, and he's chasing the balloon man, Andreas Wisniewski, and he knows that Kara's boyfriend, General Koskov, it has something fishy going on. And he speaks to her. He speaks to her in a way that is not friendly anymore.
Yeah.
Because for him, that whole thing is serious. And the way they filmed his face there, and the lighting and his facial expression, that was for me the ruggedness. Not the action sequences where he did something spectacularly Bond or something. And Brosnan didn't deliver on that note for me. Only sometimes.
But last time with Goldeneye, you brought up a good point about Brosnan's attitude towards women in the Bond films. He always has that distance, that emotional distance. In Goldeneye, for instance, when he has this vulnerable Natalia in the interrogation room, where she's vulnerable and insecure and stuff, and he just puts on his face and It's the same with now I forget the name of Tara Reid. It's not even Tara Reid. My goodness. Carver, Paris,
Terry Hatcher.
Paris. Yeah, and it's still he's a little more loving towards her, but there's always that emotional distance that he has. Still.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huh?
Yeah. And with Terry Hatcher in Tomorrow Never Dies, I mean, being an old flame of his and now being married to the villain, I mean, he has to have a certain emotional distance because, well, like they said in the car, squeeze her for information, but basically that's it. Leave it at that. Don't go any further. I mean, that's his job. He ends up in bed with her. Yeah. Okay. But I don't know. I think he was using her at some point.
Yeah, that's right.
He was using her, and he was probably he probably knew that something bad would happen to her. Because you see that in that final scene when their hands go like that, and she says, "Well, the job that you're having," and stuff like that. He knew that she would probably be a victim, and there is always the one victim. And most of the time, that victim ends up in bed with Bond. And after that, she gets killed.
That's right. And I think the first time that dynamic changes is actually in Die Another Day, where sort of Jinx has the upper hand when she actually leaves him after they have slept together.
Yeah.
And when he sort of is looking for her as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah. But, okay, she's an agent. She behaves like him.
Exactly.
From the way she's trained and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I felt her character was flat. But
yeah, of course.
That's for Die Another Day to discuss.
That's different. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think, inevitably, I have to say, I mean, the Brosnan Bond movies, and generally Bond, of course, we've talked about this many times before. We're big Bond fans. But generally, of course, growing up with the Brosnan era, I think inevitably I adapted some of that a little bit, not to that extreme of James Bond, but the attitude towards women, that you sort of have that very deeply rooted inside you, that you go, never be too vulnerable, never be too emotionally involved, even with women, to the point where you can't return, where you actually get so hurt or heartbroken that it's too far to go back. I think it's a little bit, not as like Brosnan portrayed it, but a little bit of that. I think you adapt as a small boy, and it sort of is in your DNA a little bit.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it transfers to real life.
Exactly.
For most of us. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I certainly had that point, and what I found interesting was it was openly discussed in my relationship at one point. Said, do either of us still have the option to return to the life we had before without being majorly hurt? And I knew for myself I couldn't. And she said, I can. And I found that incredible. I thought she was a foreign agent or something. But I attach myself emotionally very fast to things, whatever it is. And certainly to people I love. And that can be 2 weeks, that can be 2 months. But I'm generally very fast, and if I lose that kind of person, I drop into a very large hole, and I don't know. I find it important to speak about these things. If you can't speak about these things, something is already wrong in your relationship.
That's true, and of course, with you, I don't want to disclose any personal things, but of course, with you, it has a background with your mother and so on that, sort to a certain extent, would explain to it. That fright of loss.
Yeah.
But then again, there are psychologists who say that women suffer much less than men when it comes to breakups and emotionally distancing themselves. I try to maintain that sort of attitude. I know I like having friends. I like having good friends like you, for instance, and other people here in my closer field. But I always try to think of it that way. You know what? There was a life before that person, and that life must not have been worse than what it is now.
That's true. Yeah, you have to find a way to align what you have now and what you had before.
Yes.
and I've managed quite well because I'm really difficult when it comes to that. I'm like a Bond villain. I have my lair, yeah, where I rarely let people inside. I mean, it's already interesting that I stream from home and you can see little parts of what is behind me. I mean, it's mostly Bond, but okay. I protect my home and my friends, my circles of friends, and I have 5 different circles of friends. And I have never had a long-term relationship, but I protect that with everything I have when it's worth it. And it is to me, and I'm a very emotional person. That is not a secret. I mean, have you cried at any of the Bond films?
You know what?
Some occurrence?
Certainly not the Bond films. And generally, I have to say, I'm not a person who cries a lot. That's not a macho thing or something that I would like to say, to be proud of myself. But it's just I rarely cry. It's about once a year at the most. But it's just it's nothing I'm proud of. It's not like like say, wow, I'm so proud I don't cry much. But it's just I rarely get. Yeah. It's more. If it is, it's sad movies and cartoons especially, or when animals are involved. Then yes.
Okay.
But generally, not really. No.
I cry because Jorrit has to go.
Oh no.
Jorrit, see you next week. Thank you
hopefully,
for joining us. James Bond Netherlands, great guys.
Yes.
Great guys.
Fantastic guys. Yes. Very supportive. Yeah. Also, yeah.
Absolutely. Been to Amsterdam and Rotterdam in 2014. It was the first trip we did with the James Bond Club Germany, and they showed us around, showed us their country and their cities, lovely cities. Sound a bit like Trump there. Showed us their cities, lovely cities, fantastic, and no, really great guys, and being our direct neighbors in Germany. See you next week, Jorrit.
Yes.
The world is not enough. Yeah, I think we're about to finish soon as well.
Yes.
Because we go further and further away from Tomorrow Never Dies, but maybe people are interested in all the general chatter we have to offer about our persons and our inner feelings and whatever. Not many people do that honestly online. So I find it interesting, but
yeah, we always take it from the point where we start something Bonds, like we say, all the relation talk that we just had. I mean, it started with Bond and Paris and so on. So maybe it's not so far off after all.
Yeah, and everything connects to each other. I mean, you like certain pieces of music from the Bond films because you have an emotional attachment to it. I like a certain piece of music from Casino Royale because I have an emotional attachment to it, because I like the sound and it underscores what I feel. Although it belongs to a completely different world, which is Bond. So, but you take all of these things and, make it your world.
Yes.
And that is a good thing, I think. It's nothing better that films influences in that way.
Yeah, that's right. And I have to say, sometimes, even when I have a real shitty day, when I leave work and I get into my car and I put on a piece of Bond music, that very piece, it just instantly draws me into that world of Bond, of escapism. It brings back all these movie images, and it makes you feel like Bond a little bit. And it's just the best remedy, really. So that's why it is so incredibly important.
Absolutely. Love the commentary from Zachary.
Yes, very nice.
Love discussions like this. I'm going to some relationship stuff myself. Last place I expected to find advice was a Bond commentary. Well, we are human after all. I mean, if there's anything we can help you with, you can always write to us privately and whatever. We are always happy to help. And I love to interact with people in many different ways. And whenever I can share knowledge and help, I don't know, whatever. I mean, not been 93 years for nothing.
No, and you do
39.
No, you do a really good job at that. Also,
sometimes
because the last half year was not easy for me, as you witnessed yourself, and you gave some really great advice there. That was really helpful as well.
Yeah, the best advice is always drink it off.
Yeah,
drink it off.
But
okay.
Everything that went between that was useful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I like to help. I'm a helpful person, and I've seen a lot in my life. I've probably seen a lot that nobody else wants to see, or I would wish on nobody. But it certainly opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I've interacted with so many different people from all walks of life that I think I'm able to share my advice and to really help. And once, it's not a secret. I've had several therapies. One after my mother died, and one after I had a broken up relationship with a girl that didn't really become a relationship. So you can't actually call it that. I was just after her, and she wasn't into me. But I sort of clung to that and said, "Oh, she must love me because I'm the perfect guy." And this tormented me so much that I willingly myself turned myself in for therapy and said, "Tell me what's wrong with me." And they did a psychological profile on me, and that was interesting because you in Germany you can have a copy of that, and your doctor gets a copy of that, your regular doctor, and the health insurance, because they pay for the sittings, the sessions. And they had me on medication and everything, happy pills, which is horrible because you are like in the evening, like what it's now 11:15 in Germany, it's the night, you are in party mood and you want to call your friends and you want to go for party, and it's the middle of the week and everybody has to work tomorrow, so that was really horrible. But they wrote, yeah.
Maybe you could share what did they sort of examine? I mean, what triggers that? What you just explained, that sort of wanting to convince someone of what you just explained.
Yeah, that was funny because the whole report on what I actually was suffering from sounded like I was like some kind of Bond villain. Because it said he has highly manipulative tendencies, and he manipulates people in thinking what he wants them to think. And I thought, okay, I didn't see myself as that kind of person, but okay, thank you. And then it said that I'm a person who thinks very carefully about every decision that I make. Wagering the pros and cons of everything, if it takes weeks or months before I make a decision, which some people don't do. Some people are intuitive and they say, okay, I don't like you, you're an asshole. And I would think a whole week if I actually say that to that person. So that I found interesting.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely true. I make my mind up about a lot of things, probably too much, but I carefully weigh my options in every situation, and thank God I don't have many. But
So
when I
we
run
always
into
think of it.
trouble, yeah. But yeah, it's really true. I mean, in the Bond community, what I have found and what others have found, when you have a personal problem, you can always go to one of the guys, write them privately, and say, "Hey, can I talk to you? I think you're a good guy. Can I talk to you for about something that is not Bond related?" I have the feeling we can do that
Yeah.
because we know each other internationally. And some of us, we have met, we have partied together, we have been at film premieres together, openings of whatever, gatherings. And I would certainly say that if I had a personal problem that I think that person can help me with, I would go to that person. Why not? Because do I want to chew on that problem for several more months, or do I want to try to end it or something?
Right.
So, yeah. If anybody has a problem, write to us. We will treat it confidentially. We will not drag you through the mud. We're always here, happy to help, even if it's just a random Bond question.
Of course, yeah. And surely we won't make fun of it or something like that, because, like I said, many of these things we know ourselves. We've been through that as well, and it's yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're a big community set out to help each other, have fun with each other, certainly in these challenging times that we have, and they've just gone more challenging, certainly here. And don't know, maybe in 2 weeks when we do a live stream, I'm bound to stay at home.
Right, yeah.
We don't know what's coming. And many people are afraid of the current situation. I, for one, am absolutely not afraid. Not because I deny the existence of the virus, but it's because here in Germany we have it under control. And I never thought I would say that, but I trust our government in handling this situation. Yeah, of course, our health minister has just been tested positive, but okay. We just let it go its path. But no, in Europe we have the lowest rates ever. So I feel fine. I feel okay. Everything's open here. I can go shopping, and okay, then I can come back to my Bond cave here. I mean, I'm happy here. Not a problem. Or I go to my girlfriend's place and we cuddle all day. Well, that's okay. If that's what you do, that's what you do.
All right.
So, but I understand that many people are afraid, and if that is something you would like to talk to us about, absolutely no problem. If you want to get together on a personal Skype call, whatever, Skype Yannick, Skype me, whatever, we are up for that. No problem. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this Tomorrow Never Dies live watch along. We certainly had a fun time, and our open discussions are getting longer and longer and longer. But we have to find an endpoint somewhere to send you all to bed or to work or wherever you are in the world. We continue next week, next Thursday, same time, 8 o'clock German time. And the live stream will be announced on the Bond Bulletin channel, and we will do a big boom boom trailer, of course, to remind you all that next Thursday is the place to meet. The Bond Bulletin is the channel to watch live with us. The World Is Not Enough, and the week after, Die Another Day. So we hope you are back for that. And yeah, tomorrow I will go into sorting behind the scenes pictures and facts so that we can supply you with everything you need to know about The World Is Not Enough. Until then, have a good night, a good day, and yeah, see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.